Yeah.
Not ideal. Not ideal at all.
Feds got us. What could we say?
Yeah, we'll be doing all the normal stuff. We'll be making the bingo card. I've got some things I'd like to talk about before we get into this debate in about an hour or so. But thank you all for coming here. I think we got,
Exactly.
let's see, if you subtract us, 82 people here. That's pretty impressive. I mean, for a
That's a
Discord event.
solid outcome for Discord. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I appreciate you all for being here. Special thanks to Donovan and Dylan for locking in and getting this set up with like 12 hours notice. So,
Absolutely. The unsung heroes.
but I figure, Gage, we can do a little show and tell since,
Yeah.
and for those of you that listen to the latest Patreon episode coming out tomorrow for everybody else, you know that I wasn't in it,
Yeah.
and I figure I'll show it off. I'll show it off.
Oh, let's see.
The feds got me.
Bro's got battle scars.
The feds got me.
Can you believe that?
But I'll try to keep my face on camera for most of the time so you guys can see my reaction. But they got me. The feds, what happened was I saw there was a burning building with children. I rushed in and I went to go save these kids because I'm a leftist. I want to protect the kids. And as I'm running out, I noticed the door's jammed, so I slammed my elbow into the door to bust it open. Broke my elbow, but got all the kids out. So that's why I wasn't on the pod on Sunday. And yeah, they also got my mic quality because I'm using the AirPods today.
Hell yeah. You know, they got me too. I'm using the MacBook and I am not gonna be on camera because I am ill, gang. COVID hit hard.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I thought the pandemic was supposed to be over.
Yeah, it's bad out here, but look, we're making it happen. We got 100 people here now. Look at you guys
That's
going
gas.
crazy. But in reality, all that happened for those that are wondering was so I live in Detroit and there was this big event happening in Midtown and I walk all over the place. So I wanted to get home quickly. So I hop on one of those city scooters and it
No.
was making this weird noise. And I was like, yeah, it's probably fine. I've been on these before. And then maybe 15 seconds into my ride, threw me off. Broken elbow.
Damn.
Just the type of shit that happened to me during fucking debate week. Like, what are we doing? Yeah,
No, it's
so
an unfortunate series of events befell us this week. Just perfect timing. It's got me worried. I feel like it's an ill omen for the performances we're gonna see.
Black Cat 13 dropped. I don't care that you broke your elbow in the chat. It's funny because I've been saying that to everybody. That's the first thing I thought of when I broke this damn thing. I was like, yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
But yeah, the CIA cut my break.
least masculine way to break a bone. That's crazy. It's true. That's true. Y'all got the liberal city scooter and it threw him off.
Man. Liberal city scooter, man, it's fucked up. But thanks for coming out, everybody. Hopefully we'll be able to get this uploaded to YouTube maybe tomorrow for those that can't be here.
Mm-hmm.
But we're here for debate coverage. We are.
It'll certainly be a show. I'm very anxious to see how everything's gonna pan out.
Yeah, yeah, and we were gonna do another fundraiser for PCRF. In fact, our great and glorious mod Dylan was gonna, or he suggested that we use a different platform so YouTube doesn't take a cut. That's what we were gonna do. It was gonna have an automatic counter. Your name was gonna pop up. It was gonna be fancy.
Yeah.
And then we fucked it up. We fucked it up royally.
Mm-hmm. City scooters. The feds got to the scooter. They overran the battery, and the feds exposed me to COVID.
It's true.
And my weak immune system just couldn't handle it. Vaxxed, not me. The pandemic's over. Come on now.
Oh boy. Okay. Well then, I think it might be time to do what we always do during these debate live shows, and that's a bingo card. We might be relegated to Discord today, but I think we could still run through a bingo card because I'm sure you all got predictions. We'll be pulling from chat as always. So let me see if I can share my leftist screen here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, share. Oh, yep, we got boosted. That means we have HD resolution, folks.
Hell yeah, let's go. Let's go.
You should be able to see this now. Canva, as always. This is just leftover from last time. Presidential debate 2. Let's see what you guys got. What do we think we're going to see at this debate?
I think we're gonna get damn near drill, frack, and burn out of Kamala. The debate's in Pennsylvania, isn't it?
Yeah. Wait, is it in Pennsylvania? I actually don't know.
I think I had seen something saying it was in Pennsylvania. Let me Google it real quick. Where is the Kamala debate?
So people are saying someone said Palestine. It's in Philadelphia. So yeah, yeah, Pennsylvania.
Hell
People are
yeah.
saying someone said Palestinian derogatory communist slur. I think we could pretty safely dedicate one square to just slur. Somebody drops a slur, probably
Yes,
Donald Trump.
that's a good one. I'm wondering, also, do you think the Venezuelan gangs taking over an apartment complex will get brought up?
That shit's so funny. Or the Haitians eating the cats or whatever.
Exactly.
They're just making shit up. It's awesome.
Because Trump's gonna get asked about not abortion, about immigration, and bring that shit up. Come on now,
Uh huh. Uh huh.
come on now. The Venezuelans, they're coming over. They're coming over in droves and taking over your apartment
All right.
complex. I've seen it, folks.
Venezuelan gang. I'll drop Venezuelan gangs in here, typing with one hand. Weak liberal bones. Uh,
Oh yeah, that's rough. That's rough.
Venezuelan gang.
Trump
Thanks for
mispronounces
coming
comma.
out, everybody. We're at like 150 people. This is
That's
crazy.
nuts. On Discord? Oh my goodness.
On Discord, we're literally those guys. It's crazy.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully, we'll be able to do an official YouTube live for the VP debate. I don't see why we wouldn't. I should be like halfway through recovery at that point. Engage hopefully won't be
Exactly.
infected with the woke mind virus.
I'll be immune. I'll be immune at that
Mm-hmm.
point. What do I need a
Yeah.
vax for? I got natural immunity.
Um, and it's funny because like with the Haitians thing, I'm sure we'll talk about it on next week's show if we can muster the strength to get there. But it's like, well, one, first of all, it's completely manufactured, and second of all, the way I've seen people talk about it is like they're saying there's like 20,000 Haitians that went to Ohio, and that's like less than 1% of the population of Ohio.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
a very small group of people.
I feel like that's like a somewhat regular number.
Yeah, Haitians in Ohio eating cats on the bingo card. Boom. All right. Let me look at chat. What else we got, folks? Feel free to repeat yourself if I don't see it and you
Let's
think
see.
it's
Let's
still good.
see. We got Trump mispronounces Kamala's name like 5 times.
Almost guaranteed.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Maybe Trump thinks he's running against Biden.
Oh, Daniel, that's a good one. Kamala got no votes. He's gonna bring up primary coup.
That's a Tulsi
Primary
Gabbard talking point right there.
and that's the debate, coach. That's the debate, coach.
It's true. Trying to
Kamala says
look at
JD
my
Vance is
laptop.
weird. See, I don't know if she would do it, but I think Tim Walz will at the VP debate.
See this.
Kamala will destroy Israel. Oh yeah, I can see it. I can
Um,
see it.
we
Come on, Kamala.
never got
I don't think the
a
moderators engage in any sort of fact checking, just like the last
nope.
debate.
Same rules from what I heard.
Yeah, damn near they'll
Fucking
frame every question from the right.
Pod Save America fucking interviewed Dana Bash to have her talk about like her experience moderating. Made me hate her even more. Because she was talking about like being like noticing that Trump is lying a bunch. And I was like, you could have said something. you could
Literally, you had the power. You could have spoke up.
Trump has to talk as a assassination attempt. I think like that's the kind of thing he should exploit for his political benefit. But I feel like it might have actually scarred him in like a deeply personal way because he doesn't really talk about it that much. His proxies do, but Trump himself doesn't talk about it that much. I feel like,
I don't even
and
know what
I'll
y'all.
put it on here.
Nothing happened before Joe Biden dropped out. Trump versus things that actually happened will be good to watch. Absolutely.
Trump got shot.
Oh, borders are is
Bored,
guaranteed.
absolutely.
Damn near free space right there.
I was about to say.
Being extreme. I just wonder. I have a feeling that both of them are just gonna kind of like waffle through it. You know.
Oh, Kamala's been so goddamn boring lately.
I know she came out so strong. The first like what 2-3 weeks of her like
Yeah,
unofficial campaign. Oh my goodness! And then just ever since then.
Veronica. Yeah, mics are going to be muted again. Same as it's the same setup as last time. Same rules.
Unfortunately.
Trump manage it. The thing is, like, I just don't. Can we get something better than Biden is a Palestinian derogatory? I don't think
There's
that's
no
okay.
way. There's no That's a high bar. That is a high bar. Trump flexes his and RFK's endorsement. I think you know what? Maybe there's an angle where Kamala tries to use the RFK endorsement as a way to attack Trump. Like, look at this crazy motherfucker. Oh, Trump's gonna bring up Dick Cheney.
Okay. Okay, that is recent enough. He's a clout demon like us.
Yeah, there's no way. Great minds. You know what I'm saying?
Dick Cheney mentioned.
Green Party gets mentioned? Absolutely not. They still can't even make it that close. As a prosecutor, that's a good one, Memphis. As a prosecutor.
I feel like that's opening statement material right there.
Mm-hmm.
Dick Cheney mentioned. Let's see. We're doing this together, folks.
Yeah,
165 people here.
that's
I'm
crazy.
sipping on my cucumber water. It's excellent.
Amazing. Amazing. This guy's
Now,
healing.
oh, I forgot to mention I have surgery at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Isn't that fun, guys?
Tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow morning. But I'm dedicated.
Let's
I
fucking
was gonna
go.
make this happen no matter what.
So you gotta show up at the hospital like what, 4 a.m.?
No, I got to show up at 6 a.m.
Oh, okay. All right, word.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Dick Cheney mentioned what was Oh, as a prosecutor. That's right.
As a prosecutor, yes.
A pro or
Biden crime family? Nah, there's no way. Nah, if it was Biden, I think he would bring up what didn't Hunter Biden just like plead guilty to some bullshit like tax evasion? Something Trump did too.
I think yeah, he didn't pay his taxes, which real as hell. Real
Based.
as hell. Hunter Biden once again being the coolest person ever.
That shit's expensive.
Uh-huh. Okay, let me lock in. Base tax evasion, that's right. Not me though. I'm about to pay my flow through entity taxes in 5 days.
Oh my god, I forgot about those. Eek.
Adib said Jeremy is supposed to do this debate while fasting and sober. Sober, yes, can't drink.
Yes.
Unfortunately, fasting, I actually don't have to stop eating until midnight.
Oh,
Thankfully,
that's good. That's good.
so no eating and drinking after midnight. But this will be done before midnight, so it's okay.
I don't know if he's gonna talk about her sleeping around on the debate stage. Like, even though it's like Trump, if Trump would be the one person to do it, I don't think there's no. I don't think so. That'd be.
Those Slim Jim debate coaches are stressing out, trying to get him to lock in, and it's like, bro, please don't say this, bro, please.
Oh fuck! Oh, my.
Make
Harris is
Joe
more
bug out. Got
persuasive.
to.
Oh, Harris will once again commit to the what is it? Fucking the unequivocal defense of Israel. We're working around the
Mm-hmm.
clock to get a ceasefire done. Exactly, black academics. Exactly.
Willie Brown mentioned.
She's gonna pull the John Kirby special.
I feel like like she had so much excitement behind her off rip, and like we were excited. You know what I'm saying? We named
Mhm.
many episodes after the K Hive, but then I feel like she's losing all that momentum because she's acting like Biden, just
Yeah.
more coherent.
Bringing up black jobs. You think he does it again? There's no way he does it again.
PYZ key. I don't know how to say that. Pizkey. I do have she isn't black on here because that's a long shot, but it'd be funny.
Yeah, nobody voting for Kamala is definitely getting sad. 100%. There was a
2020
coup.
Project 2025. Absolutely Project 2025. Road J.
Fentanyl getting brought up. Fent.
All right, I'll give us a fence square.
Fent.
Fent.
Fent missiles launched across the border. Both candidates agree on the border. Unfortunate reality we live in. Unfortunate
There's
reality.
immigrants pouring through, and then Kamala Harris is like, "Yeah, there is. You're right.
This is true, and you killed the bill.
Yeah. At least she can like rhetorically land that, unlike Biden.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Even though I reject the premise.
No, nobody's beating Medicare. But as a student of rhetoric, I gotta respect the game.
Yeah. Black jobs. Kamala Harris has to call out the black jobs thing, right? Like, she's got to be like, she got to have some kind of thing lined up.
Yeah. I wonder, like, what kind of questions are we gonna get? We're definitely gonna get questions on the economy again. I think we're definitely gonna get questions zeroing in on like some policy, some sort of policy surrounding the economy, like no taxes for tip workers and whatnot. We're gonna get a question about school shootings. There's no way we don't get a question about that. CNN had a
Fact of
pre-show about
life.
Ukraine and Israel being a focus.
Oh,
Brother, what the fuck are we doing?
oh my God! It's Hitler versus
What are
Hitler
they
on
gonna
stage,
focus on?
baby. What the fuck?
What are we gonna
It's the
focus on
image.
with Ukraine and Israel? That's insane. Oh my goodness. Tariffs, 100% tariffs. Unions, maybe. I could
Something
see
to
Trump
bring.
cynically bringing up one of the Seans speaking at the RNC. Kamala is a Maoist.
Crowd size mention from Trump. That would be insane if he got mad about crowd sizes on
That'd be
stage
good.
next to her.
Maoist Kamala bringing forth the Cultural Revolution.
Maybe we'll see just a lockdown, locked in, disciplined Donald Trump. Just
Oh, wouldn't that be
straight to
something?
the point.
Wouldn't
No
that be
meandering.
something?
Ooh, Kamala's dad is a Marxist. I feel like we might see something like that.
Oh, that's good. That's a deep cut. DNC ratings being higher than RNCs, maybe. I could see it. Jan 6 mention.
The issue with the ratings thing is like the Democrats aren't ones to bring that up, but Trump is one to bring that up. Like if the
That's
RNC
true.
had higher ratings, he would say that. But I feel like Democrats don't really care.
Oh, I feel like there is going to be a mention from the moderator specifically about Kamala flip flopping her environmental
Mm.
position. Yeah, that's a good one.
Be-
That's a good one.
because to be fair, she did.
She did. She absolutely did. And now she's in Pennsylvania, so she's gonna switch up even harder. Drill, frack, and burn.
Flip flopper.
Kamala saying, "I'm speaking." I hope she doesn't. I hope she doesn't.
That's the kind of liberal shit that Gage hates.
Hmm. Nobody likes like condescending liberal rhetoric. Just hit him with it. This guy's a bit silly. Flying around on Epstein's plane. Oh my! An Epstein list dimension would be nuts.
People did eat it up in 2020
Yeah,
against
in
Mike Pence.
2020, people liked it, but I'm associating it more with in Detroit like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brat as in between music. Could you imagine they start to pan out of the debate stage as they go into like some fucking weird ad and it's just, are you bumping that? Don't sleep, no eat, just do it.
Living like Lombardi said, I wish she would mention Epstein, but no way she says that. Dog, why don't Democrats
That'd be
say that?
insane.
He's pictured with Jeffrey Epstein. He said after Jeffrey Epstein died that
Unequivocally.
he felt bad for Ghislaine Maxwell because her boyfriend just died. Come on, bring it up.
Gage karaoke win. That's for the after. Come on now.
That's
Communism.
a goaded picture. That is a goaded picture.
I just realized we don't have a chat delay on here. That's so sick.
Yeah, no, it's so much better.
185. Oh my gosh! Thanks for showing up, everybody.
We might max out. We have a cap of 300, I think.
Oh God, wouldn't that be so cool?
I don't know if we can change that, but it's fine.
If Bill wasn't at the DNC, they could have brought up Epstein.
Fair enough. Yeah, he's like, don't say that shit. Don't say that shit. Cap of 10. I just see a 187 out of 300
I
on
also
the
see
side of
that.
my screen.
Hey, we could get 10,000 in here.
Yeah, 10. Easy. Chairwoman Harris? No.
Chairwoman
No way,
Harris.
right?
That's good. That's good.
It's all good if it's only a 300 cap. I don't think we'll hit it, but maybe. Stream killed my computer, bro. I'm on my phone right now. Really tough.
Damn, that's crazy. Glad you're still here. Wah.
From cultural Marxist. I think that's covered in the her dad is a Marxist thing. I don't know.
I think so too.
Maybe we should just say Marxist allegations. Just
Great.
normal.
I think they would talk about Taylor Swift if she was more actively involved in the voter registration stuff, like she was in what 2020. And by actively involved, I just mean she's tweeting it out like she did then.
Trans issues coming up, it's a given. See,
I
I
don't think
agree.
so actually.
It's just I feel like Trump doesn't care about LGBTQ stuff. He just does it because he knows it plays up the base. Like he doesn't bring it up on his own, but he did recently say that like you walk into school and then 2 days later you come home and you're trans. The election's already stolen. Okay, Adam Easy, that's low key a banger because Trump was truthing on Truth Social the other day. Like it looked like a legal statement. This like long block of text explaining how he's gonna like fight the election theft state by state, and it's like, brother, it's September. People haven't even
Mhm.
voted yet.
And early voting is getting delayed in one state because of fucking RFK's name getting off the ballot.
North Carolina, right?
Yes, North Carolina. Yeah, it's North Carolina.
Can you believe I still gotta like type stuff for class, dog? It's not. It's gonna take me like 3 times
That's
the
absurd.
amount of
Bro's
time.
gonna have to apply for fucking accommodations this semester.
No, it's absurd. I'm gonna be out for 6 weeks, dog. I'm pissed about it.
Oh my god, I'm
I'm
so
gonna,
fucking
I'm gonna have
right
to voice to text the show notes.
Bro's gonna have to dictate his essays.
Yeah. Oh man,
Republicans endorsing Harris like Liz Cheney. Yeah, we got Dick Cheney on there. I couldn't. That's my guy. That's my guy.
Black academics, welcome to the Discord. Yeah, I'm still in school. School forever. Student
Not this
forever.
guy.
Never leaving.
I've been proletarianized. Shout out to the Green Party.
Oh, there. Okay, I was about to say. I saw earlier that somebody changed their name to God's strongest Green Party hater in the Discord. I thought that was funny.
They don't do anything.
You don't.
They
Just I
don't do
don't.
anything. I'm surprised Jill Stein hasn't pulled an RFK and done a fake debate.
She probably didn't have enough money to do it.
Don't have to pay loans if you never leave. That's so true. I'm a lifelong learner. This guy's a lifelong learner.
I am.
35 to 43 age group. HITO reaching across the generational divide. What can I say? All right, how are we doing on this bingo card? What kind of spaces we got left?
We got 8 spaces left. Felon mention. If she doesn't bring up the felony, I'm swear to God.
But like, they haven't. I have not seen any sort of like felony mention in like a month or two.
Yeah, that's so upsetting, dog. Do you see Jill Stein's official account beefing in Pearlmania's
That's
comment
crazy.
section?
That's crazy. You cannot be a serious like. Well, she's not a serious political candidate, but you can't pretend to be a serious political candidate and beef in a TikToker's comment section. That's great. That's nuts.
Yeah, imagine like Cornell West in our comment section. Come on,
Uh-huh.
dog.
Jill Stein bought like the Kremlin. That's another thing I forgot to talk about with my COVID brain on this week's episode. Tim Pool getting paid $100,000 a show to be pro Russia. When are
That
we gonna
means
get that kind of money?
opinion on TikTok debaters: blind leading the blind. We did it a few times.
I was gonna
We
say we've
definitely
been there, done that for like a month or two, and it's whatever.
it's the same as my opinion as like on like man on the street type interviews. Like there should be like 5 people max that do it. Everyone else, unless you can compete with them, you should just stop.
Yeah,
Like we don't need that many.
Tim Pool sucks at propaganda. I could do it so much better. That's what I'm saying, bro. Hit me up if you want to
Bro,
pay me $100K an episode. Like, come on.
400,000 a month. If you think I wouldn't abandon my positions for that amount of money and influence, come on, brother.
All I have to do is abandon my position for 1 year, collect a check, and then I can retire.
And then claim to be the victim.
Exactly. Oh my god.
They were asking me to lie about the Russia-Ukraine war, and I took the money, but I didn't know that they were actually like Russian propaganda.
Yeah. I did not question where $100,000 of video was coming from. Like, that's irresponsible.
All right. Anyway, we need to lock in and finish this. It's already 8:25.
Oh, that's so true. That's so true.
Official candidate of the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay. Yeah, we're almost at 200. That's crazy. I expected
Yeah,
maybe
that's
like
nuts.
40 people,
Discord. That's same.
and I would have been fine with that. Dedicated
I'm
HITO fans.
saying Hito community coming out strong.
Trump unrelated
Unrelated.
tangent.
I feel like that's too broad.
Because that's just Trump.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Afghanistan mention got to.
Afghanistan withdrawal for sure. That's like more of a Biden attack, but I feel like I feel like it's in line with Dick Cheney and no new wars under Trump. People were arguing in our comment sections about that like yesterday or today or
Oh,
something.
bro, people did not understand the point of that little video I made.
Oh my god, I know.
They missed the point. Mm.
Give me an unlimited budget on paying comedians to be right wing. Haitians on the board yet? We got Haitians on the board, don't we?
Yeah, Haitians in Ohio eating cats. That's the latest fucking lie that they've made up.
Uh-huh.
Hey, JD Vance proliferated. It's crazy.
Do we have any honestly, do we get a JD Vance mention? Do we get a mention of JD Vance being just like the worst pick? No. That's too like inside baseball
She'll
league.
yeah, she'll leave it for Tim Walz to do that. I think that's like beneath her. She doesn't need to do that.
Do we have
I
the
think she should stick him with the weird allegations though. She should absolutely do that. But I
yeah.
don't think she needs to name drop JD Vance.
Trump cleans the couches after Vance is done with them. That's crazy.
Trump is gonna call her an angry black woman. Could you imagine if he's like, she's just an angry black woman? That'd be insane.
Oh, somebody mentioned the Green Deal. Sorry, my chat's going crazy with the fucking loading right now. Y'all are popping off. Somebody mentioned the Green New Deal. I honestly think there's a good chance that the Green New Deal will be brought up because didn't she vote for it?
I don't. It didn't make it to the Senate
Oh no,
unless
didn't
there
she
was
say she would vote for it? Or like there was something that I've seen people try to nail her on recently
but
about that.
I mean, she was also pro Medicare for all.
That's true. That's
She's a flip flopper at heart. You know what I'm saying?
true. And that's why we fuck with her. But not when she doesn't do it for the right reasons.
Uppity would be crazy. Uppity would be insane.
Yeah, that'd be nuts. That'd be nuts.
Uppity would be no. That I think that's too much of. That's not even a dog whistle nowadays. I mean, next to people that are getting a skincare routine.
If Tulsi
That might just
Gabbard,
be,
yeah, yo,
maybe
let's
getting
go.
moved over by the Discord filter or whatever.
If Tulsi Gabbard is the debate coach, I feel like there is a chance that we get a Coppola mention, like completely cynically and disingenuously.
I'll put fracking mention on here. That picture is funny. I might save this to my personal library.
What an honor! Yeah, because Trump will do something where it's like I've done more for the black community than she ever has, First Step Act and whatnot, and then she's putting him in jail.
Fracking endorsed by both. That shit's so upsetting, dog. She
Oh,
was once compared to like Bernie Sanders in terms of like voting progressivism.
yeah. There in Arlington Cemetery mentioned. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Kamala locked up black people gets dropped. See, that's the Tulsi Gabbard attack, and it worked in the Democratic primaries, especially in an environment where like Black Lives Matter protests were popping off. But Trump like supports that, like
Yeah,
Trump. I think recently came out in favor of stop and frisk, like in 2024.
that's insane. That is
And
insane.
like what's bro's name? The mayor of New York that did that shit, like admitted that it targeted black people. Like that's it's crazy.
Illegals. More border squares. Trump claims to be pro-union. Hasn't he been trying to do that? I think he has.
Giuliani, wasn't it? It was either Giuliani or Bloomberg, I think.
There's no way Giuliani is going to admit defeat.
I almost worry that like like Biden obviously did very poorly in that debate, but he at least like his brain was functioning to the extent that he was able to say things like felon. He brought up Stormy Daniels at one point. I worry
Yep.
that Kamala Harris is going to avoid those kinds of things entirely.
It's like she kind of has been.
Yeah,
I
and
don't think
that's
I've heard
like
the felon line from her.
I'll give DEI pick its own square because if we get that,
If we
I'll
get
be
that,
very
so
impressed.
think she's gonna come
I
out
guess
on the attack. I hope so.
I hope so, man. Like, because there are those clips of her when she was in the Senate and she would like grill people, and that generally she did a good job. But I don't know. I'm worried just based on how this campaign has been doing so far.
She has not put her best foot forward. Kamala's transing your kids. Oh my god! If we got a mention of the kids at school are being hauled off and gender transition before they return to their parents, whew.
Like we really need the Democrats to embrace when they go low, we go lower. Like
Mhm.
fight in the mud, like, sling it.
I just got one of those DNC texts asking me to donate. Those things are just walls of text. I swear to God, I'm not reading all that.
Talk. I keep getting the YouTube ads with just Kamala Harris saying like, "The deadline's coming up. We need you to donate." Like
Yes,
that's the whole.
she's just looking at the camera too. Oh my goodness! I swear, the only good ad that I've seen, I feel like this election cycle has honestly been from the conservatives. It's this one ad that keeps fucking popping up on my YouTube. I think because I live in a red county, and it's just a voice clip of Ronald Reagan saying, "Are you better off like today than you were 4 years ago?" And it's like, okay, that's a message I feel like resonates with a lot of people,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's used for evil.
I got one that was just a text of a pic of Hillary Clinton. That's so funny.
Dude, they're unhinged in these texts sometimes.
I
It's not as crazy as the GOP ones though.
Yeah, I saw somebody recently on Twitter say that it felt like Joe Biden in 2020 was running to have like an FDR style presidency, and now Kamala Harris is running to have like a second term of Bill Clinton style presidency. Like just mid neoliberal, unexciting. It really does feel that way sometimes. Okay, we need to lock in. We're always bad at
Mm.
this.
Childcare. How could we forget about childcare? Childcare, I think, will be a question for sure. Especially after Trump's statements this week. Oh my God.
Migrants in Colorado are eating cats. We do that. Oh, I thought it was in Ohio. Is it Colorado? No, I think it's Venezuelans in
Venezuelans
Colorado.
in Colorado.
Haitians in Ohio. We got to get the culture war stuff down, people. Come on. Ohio is Haitians, yes.
Guys, people, lock in. Like,
Cincy Alex knows. He has X'd out.
I remember Cincy Alex in the midterm live that we did talking about how JD Vance was not going to win in Ohio. I still remember that to this day.
That shit is, man, that's like almost like an origin story type thing. Because look at us now.
I have no clue what you're talking about. He knows. He knows exactly. Minnesota burned down. No, that's for the VP debate. Tim Walz looks
Congrats
into
on
my
making it
phone
to law
as
school.
oh yes, that is a big accomplishment.
Congrats, yeah. Age concerns. Oh, he's got to call him old.
Please,
I'm just gonna
please.
put it on here. Calling Trump old because I want it to happen. God, that'd be so fucking good if she called Trump old, but that was the biggest problem with Joe Biden. Everyone didn't want to vote for him because he was too old. My family members, who I consider to be the median voter, like my window into the median voter's brain, would say Biden's too old every time we talked about him.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Snowing ash where you're at. Oh my god. Close your windows. Assassination mentioned.
Assassination.
I have on here Trump got shot. Trump got shot is on here. So
Trump
that's your
got shot.
assassination mention square. Bro lives in Mordor. Okay, we need one more. Democratic coup we do have on here she never got a vote. Is that like the same thing?
I think that's the same thing. I think she never was actually voted in. It's the same as Democratic coup. Do
Or
we have?
maybe she said maybe like they kicked Biden out, or like, yeah, I guess that's kind of the same thing. Nancy Pelosi, this is urgent. I don't know, man. It's tough. Putin
Putin?
endorsing Kamala, maybe.
Is that
It
like a
was such like an Putin said that he endorses her, but then he went on to do say some like misogynistic shit after it. It was very clearly just like a cynical ploy.
classic?
Yeah. Inflation concerns, coconut tree mention. I wish. Biden. Oh, he left. I didn't even see that. Fucking liberal. Can't trust him. Maybe his internet went. Oh, there he is.
No. Oh my god, my Discord just shat on itself.
Hit you with the fucking flag switch.
Uh-huh. Somebody in here's got me with the lab switch. Cackling Kamala.
All right, we'll make cackling comma the last one, and then we can take time for amendments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what on here do we think is not gonna work?
Democrat. I'm gonna put slash Democrat coup because I feel like that's the same vibe. You know what I'm saying? This is not what I want. There we go. Oh, we got one more.
Yeah, that's
How could I miss that? You guys are so right.
there's
J6 mention? Did you fall and hurt your eyes too? J6 mention, abortion mention. Should we do something? If she doesn't hit him on abortion, she has to.
Oh, it's got to be abortion. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, absolutely. What the fuck?
Or
Damn near malpractice to forget.
my favorite, post-birth abortion.
I think we sacrificed the abortion square for a post-birth abortion square.
That's almost guaranteed. I feel like this is a after-birth abortion, baby. Come on. Yeah, post-birth. Apparently, somebody said it before and we just missed it. But I'm gonna claim responsibility. That was all.
Yeah, exactly. That was us. Come on now.
All
As the
right.
collective.
Any amendments before we got about 22 minutes left before this starts, supposedly.
Let's see.
Trump got shot. Marxist allegations. Israel glaze contest. I feel like this is pretty solid.
I think so too.
The one I could change is Willie Brown mentioned. That's kind of like the you slept your way to the top allegation.
Yeah.
But that would be crazy.
That would
Big
be
wins. It's like
nuts.
high risk, high reward. High risk, high reward.
Yeah, we got to throw a couple shots out there. We got to throw a couple shots in the dark out. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
I can't believe nobody here condemns Hamas.
Or political violence.
Exactly.
Do we mention crypto? Nah, Trump's not a crypto guy. Trump's not a crypto guy. It would be cool to get a Elon Musk mention because what is it? Has Trump been saying some shit about Elon being the secretary of firing people he shouldn't fire?
Yeah, you're just gonna put him in charge of Department of Labor. That's just
Yes.
an open threat.
Oh God.
That's just a threat to all unions. I don't just condemn the political violence of all time.
Plus ratio.
I could definitely. I can follow that one too. That's really good.
that one might have to make the Twitter.
We do have felony mention. I think this is a pretty good list.
I think this is a list too, but we could theory craft a little bit more. I feel like polls are getting mentioned.
Polls, like I'm doing better in the polls.
I think Trump is going to bring up.
Okay.
thing. Hillary was up. It's I think he's gonna bring up Bolton.
Speaking of polls, I guess we could low key talk about that now because I did want to yap about polling real quick.
That's true.
This debate. Hold on just a
Go to the polls.
This. I'm gonna download the bingo card real quick, and then I will post it on Twitter and in the Discord, and you folks can keep track for us as always. Let me download.
Surgeon General RFK, let's go. Yeah, clearly I'm not a Chinese national or Ashkenazi Jew since I came down with COVID after the pandemic's over.
Imagine getting COVID in 2024.
I'm saying this shit's so whack. I, like every other reasonable person, thought that it didn't exist anymore.
Does anybody else think that like the Hawk Tua thing is the worst online joke of all time? That shit was never funny to me. That shit is annoying. It was just announcement. Someone dropped it in. Oh,
she's invading our space now too. She started the Talk Tua podcast.
Stealing podcaster jobs.
I'm saying, man, making the competition more tight.
Let me post it.
Leaving HITO to go listen to Talk Tua. Yeah, Talk Tua debate coverage. What's going on now?
Debate bingo card. So I get distracted.
No, yeah, she's getting her bag. No issues with her. I mostly have an issue with the boomers that only think it's funny because they've never seen a woman be like sexual in a funny way before. They have never seen the comments of female fans under a Gojo edit, and that's why they think it's just the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna drop this in general. Somebody else made a competing card. How dare you?
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
All right.
I failed to fact check is a free space. They're just gonna not fact check. We know that.
That is the HITO of. I should put our logo on there. Oh well.
Damn.
The HITO official bingo card is in the chat. Free space in the middle.
Gojo girlies do not know what digital footprint is. That's a value
so 300 people limit is for the video apparently.
Kamala has a bingo card on her website?
Oh, speaking of okay, we need to lock in. We got 17 minutes. I did want to talk about Kamala Harris's website because she finally released policy positions a day before the debate. Let's see. I'm going to screen share this now. We can yap about this for just a moment. Okay. So obviously you get hit with a fucking donation page as soon as you get on here. But now she has this mysterious and elusive issues tab. And there's a lot of jargon here. The text is very small. I can hardly read it myself. But she finally released positions. A lot of these are decent. I mean, there's stuff about like funding childcare, lowering healthcare costs, strengthening labor unions and stuff like that. I don't know if any of you saw the blurb on Gaza, but that was maybe some of the worst that I've ever read.
Real.
Or stand with our allies here. It is. Of course, there's some shit about China because it's kind of bad. What the hell is the? Oh, right here. Vice President Harris will always stand up for Israel's right to defend itself, and she will always ensure Israel has the ability to defend itself. She and President Biden are working to end the war in Gaza. If I had the mixer, I'd hit the burner sound. Such that Israel is secure and the hostages are released, the suffering in Gaza ends, and Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination. She and President Biden are working around the clock. Biggest fucking lie of my life. To get a hostage deal and ceasefire deal done. So if anyone's been looking for her position on Gaza, her like stated pen to paper position on Gaza, there it is, and it's a lot of meaningless jargon. John Kirby vibes. Where do you think he gets his notes from? Kamala Harris been running the show.
Oh my God! Do you think Trump mentions that she's been the president this whole time?
I've seen some people saying that.
That was a thing a couple of years ago.
That's so funny. So does she have a bingo? Someone said she has a bingo card. I don't see it on here though. Meet Tim Walls, meet
Yeah,
Kamala
if
Harris.
somebody
Man,
could
I don't
link
know.
her bingo card, I bet it's the most tame thing on the planet.
Let me see if I can. Yeah, I think you guys can drop links in here. So
Shadow
I'll
President Kamala.
make sure nobody. Oh yeah, we also had like 100 people join the Discord today. Hopefully, we don't have any like Hamas supporters or something.
Oh God.
Any
Yeah.
links? No,
Officially.
if someone's got the or somebody screenshot her bingo card and drop it in the chat or something.
Oh, that'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, that'd be excellent. I hate hummus. Me too, man. That's
99
our
percent
bingo
of
card,
presidents
goofball.
quit before they fix Palestine and Israel for real this time. Wow, that's a
We
pretty
happen
good
to
bingo card.
we happen to perfectly recreate Kamala Harris's bingo card. Okay, here it is. Here it is. That's fine.
Kamala drops a bingo card. Fat.
Oh, digital download. Wow. Click here to download it. All right, folks, we're gonna take a look together.
Ultra right. Let's go.
That's so sick. You finally got it. I thought that was a scam the whole time.
Let's go.
That's hilarious. Oh man, that's good. All right, hold on. I'm pulling up her bingo card. We're gonna judge it.
What time is it? We got 13 minutes before showtime, baby.
That's right. Okay. I don't know why it's showing only the bingo card, but that's fine. So defense January 6th, new way forward. Oh, the blue ones are for you can't do that.
Oh, that's dumb.
Debate. Oh, they made multiple? You can't.
Oh, what
They
the
made like
fuck?
four of
They're
them.
cheating.
Oh my god, a joy space. There's shit I would say that I can't say because we're putting this on YouTube. Governor Walsh
Governor
shout
Wall
out.
shout out. Come on, brother. Do you think this is low key like a roadmap of things that she's gonna try to do?
Well, because her marketing team probably just put this together for clout, but
Yeah,
it's like you can't put shit that your candidate can say. Like they can just say it and get a bingo. That defeats the whole point.
exactly. You need shit like Fent on there.
They put a "Make America Great Again" space, brother. That's just goddamn. I hate them. That's insulting.
Fake job, fake job, fake job.
Fake ass job. Exactly that gift. That's what I'm saying. Fake ass job.
Lies about his record, brother. Come on. These are all free
I'm
spaces.
I'm sick of boomers trying to be trendy. Unfortunately, I think this might have been made by a millennial. I unfortunately think it might be a millennial or younger. Oh shit! I just did not mean to X that out.
Reproductive freedom. You can't get on my mentions project 2025. That's
Public
just
school shout out.
nah, bruh. Nah.
You can't put gets cut off by the moderators on here after Biden's performance last month. You can't. For the people, joy, Trump tax.
Oh my god, this is for the most annoying people you know.
Don't drop AI images of the Trump shooting, quote unquote. It didn't happen.
I don't know what
All right,
that image is from.
that's enough of looking at this. I just took like 10 psychic damage
Joey
from reading
Martin.
That's terrible. Okay, so we got a few minutes. Naturally, we're gonna. I'm gonna have to get myself a nice little drink before we start, as always.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
we got 233 people here. I did want to take a moment. Now, of course, polling is from the devil, as Gage said on the most recent episode. It's from the devil himself.
Yes, sir.
Polling is done here just to make us freak out. But
Yes, sir.
in the spirit of freaking out, let's take a look at polling from yesteryear or yesteryears, yester election cycles. I wanted to look specifically because people have been talking about this a lot, where Hillary Clinton was and where Joe Biden was at the same time. So today's September 10th. Clinton had a what's that, a 4 point lead over Donald Trump. And obviously, we know that she went on to lose. But we could also, you could say there were polling errors of all kinds in 2016, and that looking back on this maybe doesn't tell us anything. Okay, fine. We can look at as long as this pops up on your end. We can look at where Joe Biden was, and that doesn't paint a very good picture for us because Joe Biden was comfortably ahead by a lot the entire time. And as we know, he didn't actually win by this margin when it comes to those very close states. And then, of course, we look at this year, and the gap's been widening. And Harris has only been in the race since the end of July, but not great, folks. Not great. I'm a
Yeah,
little worried.
that shit is neck and neck.
And this is even more evidence, I think, why Harris really needs to draw the contrast even harder than before. You can make an argument that Trump has really calcified the polarization since 2016. Fine, 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 fine. But this is it's worrying, and I wish Harris would really point out those key differences and make some strong proclamations. But
Yeah, because I mean, I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
most of her rhetoric is just, no, we fuck with the shit he's doing, but just a little bit less.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
like that, but not that much. And
and
it's
that's
like,
why like immigration is one of the major issues. What else? What's the other big one? Israel Gaza is another major issue, and they have nearly identical policy positions, at least rhetorically, on these issues, which is bad. Contrast is what wins elections, and I fear she's not going to be doing that.
and maybe it's not a hot take to say that the Democrats' numbers have been overrepresented in the last few years of election polling, presidential election polling. They've underperformed on the actual night.
And the thing is, like we said a few times that we understood the position she was in vis-a-vis Biden in terms of like, did we lose Jeremy or is this just me? Am I gone?
Yo, you're here for me.
I might just be one individual. But we talked about like, oh, we understand the position she's in. If she makes it look like there's friction between, um, if she makes it look like there's friction between her and the current administration, it's gonna be bad. I'm off that train. Cook his
Yeah,
dumb ass.
yeah.
It's silly. Just
Like
cook him.
you got to do something. Just anything really. We can't just like meander like she's doing,
Yeah,
man. We got to come out with some policy. Well, some good policy.
yeah. It's
For
it's bad. People didn't like Biden. That's why we wanted him replaced. You
the-
got to separate yourself from Biden, even if it makes him look bad. Like he's not gonna fucking know. Who cares?
And like nobody
Yeah,
fundamentally cares about the vice presidency. No, nobody actually pretends that they think the vice president ever does
fake
anything.
job.
It's a fake job, right? So it's like you can't get in there and distance yourself from quote unquote Bidenomics. You don't have to go on the Dana Bash interview and say, well, whatever she said, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way
Another
to feel
HITO
the
mug.
computer is going to crash? I think you can close it out.
Yeah, you might just have to close chat.
Texas goes blue this year.
Weak
The,
liberal computer.
the HITO plurality might make it happen.
Weak liberal computer. Or maybe you could pull it up on your phone. That also might make your phone crash.
You think Tim Walz fucks with Elden Ring? Nah, he's too dad coded. That dude did not beat Prime Radon, I can tell you that.
You can use your phone for the chat and your computer for the video. I mean, I don't.
Oh, that's
You're just
true. That's
spitballing shit.
true.
Whatever. All right, we got about 5 minutes. I'm gonna go refill my cucumber water, and then we'll be locked in. Maybe I can pull up like a pre-show kind of thing.
Amazing. Amazing. It doesn't let you do both simultaneously? Really? Interesting. Probably because you have to join the stage, I guess. SMH.
All right,
SMH.
let's see. This should be able to share the audio as well.
Fish with the stick. You saw polling that shows that in Texas and Florida, she's barely behind. I know they've been throwing hella money into Florida. They've been throwing crazy money into Florida just to like see.
Can you hear this? Can you hear this?
Yeah, I can hear it. It's a little quiet, but I can hear it.
What about now?
You can see Tim Walz getting into D&D, playing BG3. That's crazy.
It should be. You guys should be able to adjust the stream audio yourself if you want. We can hear it. Okay, great. We're gonna hear you
Excellent.
piss. No, you might be able to adjust stream audio yourself. I've boosted it as much as I can on my end.
Yeah, I think you can adjust individual portions.
Okay, I'll
Yeah,
be
there
back,
you go.
folks.
So oh yeah, but about Florida, yeah, they are fucking throwing money away in Florida. I get it. I get the like sentiment behind it, but that money is better spent in Pennsylvania for the 10,000 people that are going to decide this election. It did pause. That's crazy. I smashed my head. This guy Jeremy. This guy, Jeremy. I can't believe it. Good thing he'll be back. This is crazy. L production, guys, we're trying really hard. The feds are doing everything they could to keep us down. The feds were doing everything they could to stop us from actually coming and covering this live stream. Something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen, and they don't want us talking about it. They don't want you learning about it. That's right. The CIA is out to get us. Who's running this podcast? I'm gonna talk to her. Oh my god. Oh my god. We've been throwing hella money in Texas. Yeah, there is that idea that like the more it's not worthless to throw money in Florida and Texas because the down ballot races, that is right. The more votes she picks up across like various counties, even though she won't win the state, she's gonna help Democrats just get elected to like state seats. Sir, can you get play so I can get the volume set right? I'm not in control, guys. I'm trying so hard. I'm trying so hard. Wake up, he paused the video. I only get ads for New Hampshire. Yeah, I've been getting hella ads for Arizona candidates. Like, I know I'm going to drive down to Maricopa County and do ballot drop boxes, but ballot stuffing. But I don't need to see the ad. I'm a high enough information voter. That's true. Florida does have abortion and weed on the ballot, but in 2020, Florida had $15 minimum wage on the ballot, and it outpaced both candidates. You know what I'm saying? People just don't fuck with politicians. 25 minutes left on the chicken and rice. We love chicken and rice on this podcast. We love. I'll be stuffing the ballot with my HITO merch. Yeah, I'm putting HITO merch in ballot drop boxes so that the poll workers can pull it out and one, know who did it, and two, rock the merch around. You know what I'm saying? It's all an elaborate marketing scheme. There's no bad coverage. There's no such thing as like a bad story. I'm in Tucson, and on my way home from work, I saw a gaggle of Trumpers congregate on the side of the road outside some random hotel with their huge flags like girls would have seen before. Wasn't there a story like 2 years ago during the midterms about dudes with guns in Arizona like sitting outside ballot locations and just intimidating voters?
Who were detained. About why
there we go.
Terrible. The voters
I'm definitely committing voter fraud.
To reassure them, and she show them that she's ready to be president.
Who can be more?
I do not know why it paused.
Yeah.
Right.
They're mad at you.
Want to hear. They say that over and over again.
I'm sorry.
Do in the next
I'm cracked.
A newborn, listen to the HITO coverage. Let's go. Congratulations on your baby.
From early in the Biden administration, it might be.
Maricopa County is a nightmare for hospital. It seems like
it's a bad spot for them.
That's why I'm going to go down there and fight the good fight this November.
Themselves looking forward, I think, is the one who probably comes away with some better.
We'll mute it for now since we're yapping, but
that's
put on auto captions even though they're dinky on it.
I'm gonna go grab a water lickety split.
Word. All right. Auto generate. Yeah, I got it. My bad, folks. Sometimes I forget because they're real bad, but we got them on. Pauses unless you maintain on context for optimal ad viewing. Excellent. Woke left is obsessed with censorship, just like me for real. Yeah, I'm very curious how this is gonna go. I think Gage and I were far too optimistic last time around. I think everybody was though. So I'll cut myself some slack. I will. Well, I'll do it. Yeah, the audio is off right now, by the way. If any of you are wondering why you can't hear it. People got it on the TV. Excellent. I'm glad you all made it out. 245 folks in here.
Head on a TV, that's crazy.
Very happy about it. How long is the debate? 90 minutes with 2 breaks. So,
yes.
We'll do our yapping during the breaks as always, but you can't hear because of the ringworms. That's right. I'm gonna have to leave because my friends are here. Good luck. Good luck.
For real.
All right. I think we're starting.
They definitely start at 9 p.m. so that they can get people on the West Coast to watch at a reasonable time. Because it's like, what, 6 p.m. over there? Specifically people in what? Fucking Nevada.
And in the key battlegrounds, including right here in Pennsylvania, all still very much in play. The ABC News presidential debate starts right now.
Here we go. That dude is
This is
so
an
intense.
ABC News special. The most
David Muir.
consequential moment of this campaign. Kamala Harris,
Together, we will chart a new way forward.
Donald Trump,
We will soon be a great nation again.
face to face. His
Music go crazy.
the ABC News
Both you guys sounding
presidential
like an
debate.
Xbox mic.
Here
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
and Lindsay Davis.
Good evening, I'm David Muir, and thank you for joining us for tonight's ABC News presidential debate. We want to welcome viewers watching on ABC and around the world tonight. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump are just moments away from taking the stage in this unprecedented race for president.
And I'm Lindsay Davis. Tonight's meeting could be the most consequential event of their campaigns, with Election Day now less than 2 months away. For Vice President Kamala Harris, this is her first debate since President Biden withdrew from the race on July 21st. Of course, that decision followed his debate against President Donald Trump in June. Since then, this race has taken on an entirely new dynamic.
And that brings us to the rules of tonight's debate. 90 minutes with 2 commercial breaks. No topics or
folks.
questions have been shared with the campaigns. The candidates will have 2 minutes to answer questions, and this is the clock. That's what they'll be seeing. 2 minutes for rebuttals.
That's a
and 1 minute
big-ass
for follow-ups,
clock.
clarifications, or responses. They're
The comically large clock. They got the Brat Green.
No pre-written notes allowed.
Just
There is no audience here tonight in this hall at the National Constitution Center. This is an intimate setting for 2 candidates
Intimate?
who have never met.
President Trump won the coin
Intimate.
toss. He chose to deliver the final closing statement of the evening. Vice President Harris selected the podium to the right.
So let's now welcome the candidates to the stage. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump.
Woo.
Enemies to lovers, hell yeah.
Kamala Harris. Thank you.
Did you just introduce herself?
Welcome to you both.
Yeah, they've
wonderful
never
to have
met.
you. It's an honor to have you both here tonight.
That's true, yeah.
We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
Is this
So
low
let's get started.
resolution or
I want to begin
is my
tonight with
vision
the
just
issue
bad?
Probably
that
the
voters repeatedly
streaming.
say is their number one issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage
Okay.
who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy.
The communist
'Cause here's the
republic.
thing. We
That's
know
right.
that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child
Yes.
tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion, one of
From
them,
Sarah
is
does look
small
purple.
businesses. I was actually, my mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped
If you're going
raise
to talk
us.
about
We
the
call
child
her
tax
our
credit,
second
I think
mother.
it's
She was a
important to
small
also
business
bring up
owner.
the
I love
idea
our
that
small
it
businesses.
literally
Startups,
or
small
whatever.
businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month.
Far better than
Economists
Biden.
have said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year because of his policies
talking
and
about the
his
tariffs.
ideas about what
Yeah.
should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2
Okay,
minutes.
pretty good.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places they've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look,
That's not
we've had
true.
terrible
It's
economy
insane.
because inflation has, which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen
Aren't
before.
tariffs literally
Probably the
designed
worst in
to
our nation's
disincentivize the
history.
consumer
We
from
were
purchasing
at
those products
21%,
because they're
but that's
foreign
being
made?
generous
And the
because many things are
disincentive to
50,
purchasing
60,
that
70, and
comes
80%
from
higher
it being
than the
necessarily more expensive?
Tariffs usually are designed to protect like nascent industries or economies because it
Yeah,
encourages people to buy from the domestic product rather than foreign products that are
because it
cheaper.
makes the
So,
foreign product literally more expensive.
yeah, and tariffs are literally a tax. It's
Yeah.
just the word for tax, but on an import. Yeah.
Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going
Asians are
violently. These
taking
are
over
people
buildings?
that Xi and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country.
Guys,
They're
we're cooking.
dangerous. They're at the
We're
highest
cooking with
level
gas.
of criminality, and
This
we
is
have to
Hitler
get them
shit.
out. We have to get them out fast. I
The
created
highest
one of the
level of
greatest
criminality is nuts.
economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let
Nazi
Vice
shit.
President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to.
We got
Let's
bingo already?
talk
No
about
way.
what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the
Gas.
worst
Contract.
unemployment since the Great Depression.
Gas.
Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
Okay.
And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess.
Let's
What
go.
we have done
This is
and
good.
what I
This is
intend
good.
to do is build on what we know are the
Attack better.
aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name-calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe very strongly that the American people want a president who understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
President
She's
Trump will give you a
cooking.
minute
She
to
cooked
respond.
with that
Number
answer.
one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got
I
together.
read
and
it.
came
He
up
was
with
a part
some
of it.
ideas. I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic. And the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything
Not
like
true.
it. We made
hold on
ventilators
a
for the
minute.
entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounced
Also
back,
a
and
lie.
it bounced back,
Yeah.
and it went
I
to
don't
their
think anyone
benefit.
believes
But
that he
I
did a
was the
great
one that
job with the
created it.
pandemic.
They know it, and so does
No.
everybody else.
It's a
Vice President
terrible
Harris, I'll let you
message,
respond.
too.
So Donald Trump has no plan for you.
Cook him.
And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy.
Just
and
call it
the
Marxism,
best
Brett.
economists
Come
in
on.
our country, if not the world,
I'm
have
offering
reviewed our
communism.
relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy.
I will
What
assure you,
Business School has
dictatorship
said
of the
is Donald Trump's
proletariat.
plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation
The
and by the
establishment
middle of
supports
next
me.
year
Don't do
would
that.
invite a
Yeah,
recession.
no, I don't think
You just
anyone
have
cares
to
about
look
Nobel
at
laureates.
where
That
we are and
no
where we
median
stand on
voter is
issues.
going to
And
care
I'd
that a
invite
Nobel
you to
laureate
know
says that.
that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
Okay.
They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our
I
values.
can't wait for one of those
It's gonna
professors
make
to come
people
out
wanna
and say
be
that they
able
don't
to
like
go
that
and
plan.
work and
I hope that happens.
create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country.
He's
Just
a
to finish
dumbass.
off, she
Call him a
doesn't
dumbass.
have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Take a look at her
Mr.
plan.
President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up.
It's like
The
he
Vice
could have
President
worked with
brought up,
that.
your tariffs,
But
you
he
responded,
fumbled.
and let's drill down on this, because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan.
I'm glad David
Tariffs up
Muir
to
drew that
20% on
connection when
goods
she
coming into
didn't,
this
like the
country.
direct
As you
connection.
know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food,
This guy's
clothing,
good.
medication,
Uh-huh.
arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a
Much
year.
better than fake
Do you
yapper.
believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years.
Just a literal
George, I
lie.
was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars.
This is
So
the
were
same
other
as
countries.
Mexico's going to
And,
build the
if she
wall.
doesn't
It is
like
the
them,
exact
they should
same
have gone
rhetoric.
out and they should have immediately cut the
And
tariff.
it will have the
Those
exact
tariffs
same
are there,
outcome.
3.5 years
The
now
cost is
of
passed on to
their
the American
administration.
consumer.
Or we'll have to invest like billions to bail farmers out again.
Exactly.
Dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the
That
highest
is
inflation perhaps in the history of our country.
no
because I've
inflation
never seen
during
a worse period
COVID.
of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or
That
anything
is
else.
ridiculous.
The people of our country are
People can't buy
absolutely
bacon or
dying
eggs.
with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response. And you
What
heard
can I
what
say?
you said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is, under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out, when a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing,
and green energy.
on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having, on the short end of the stick, in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
Wait, is she about to respond?
I don't know.
They bought their chips from.
If you're going to do the China bad thing, I think that's the correct way to handle it. Other than maybe that last little bit, I don't know what she was doing there.
Like
they
have,
about to
I don't
say
say
the
her
China
because she
virus.
has no policy. Everything that she
Lab
believed
leak
3
theory.
years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist.
Yeah.
Her father's a Marxist professor
Her father.
in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our
like 20
country
minutes,
monthly,
15, and they're
where
cooking.
it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21.
It used to be
That's
20
bigger than
million, now
New
it's
York
21.
State pouring
Yeah,
in.
and
Just look at what they're doing to our country.
I think the
They're
15
criminals.
number is
Many
also
of these
wrong.
people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you've often touted that you were able to kill
This is really good for
Wade.
Kamala Harris so far.
Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job.
He's talking about regular
the governor
Virginia.
before, he said the baby will
Biden
be born,
brain.
and we will decide what to do with
The
the
baby
baby.
will be born. Oh my God, we got post-birth abortion people.
I did that because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And
thanks for the updated bingo card.
Which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine.
She has a great opportunity here to call J.D. Vance weird.
After birth, it's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years. They've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states.
Why is he?
Through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices who were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for
and he just mentioned that he did that.
I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do.
Why is he still leaving into that?
Very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every
because
legal
of
scholar,
conservatives.
every Democrat,
nobody likes the Supreme Court. He should not be invoking the Supreme Court.
This issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened.
I want that.
Ohio,
that's not true.
The vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
Let's go.
Get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here.
Oh my God, the sound bites.
Hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot.
I'm listening to a HITO episode.
I'm saying.
A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term? They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade. As President of
You
the
studied
United
the
States, I
Vedic
will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states, and the states are voting. And it may take a little time.
Untrue.
But for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart.
There's a soundbite in there for sure, where they play that clip of him saying, "I won't sign it." Then you play Lindsey Graham's clip of him saying there will be a national ban.
What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came
Well,
to
I
your
won't
desk?
have to because, again,
you won't answer.
Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50 and essentially 50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of? When they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe.
Because of his Supreme Court.
Her, I think probably her boss, if you call
because
him
the three
boss,
justices
spends
he
all his
appointed.
time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by
Her
the
boss went
Supreme
out and
Court.
kept
So
trying to do a
students
popular
got,
policy,
taunted
despite
with
your
this whole
opposition.
thing about this whole idea.
Democrats kept
And how
trying,
unfair it would have been, part of the reason they lost, to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free. But they were saying it's the same way
The question
that
was
they
about
talked
abortion.
about that they talked about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D. And I don't mind if he has a certain view,
He
but I think
pissed
you're
off
speaking for me,
the
but
pro-life
I really
voters with the Florida thing last week.
We don't have to discuss it
he's so
because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young.
They didn't even come close to getting a popular policy.
They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. So wonderful. Let's go to Congress. Do it. But the fact is that for years they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government. And we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, I want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion.
A1 deflection right there.
Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country? Working people,
I don't know if that's
working
true
women
anymore, but I'll take
who are working
This is
one
true.
or two
Yeah,
jobs,
it was a big story.
who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care she needs.
That's what J.D. Vance
Barely can afford to do it, and what you are putting her through is unconscionable. And the people of America have not, the majority of Americans believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body.
Talk to her, if you will.
That is why in every state where this issue has been on the ballot, in red and blue states both, the people of America have voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris,
Excuse me, I have to.
Yes.
Another lie. It's another lie. I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it. I have been a leader on fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, they
Really?
It sounds like he feels like he's on the back
Will
foot.
she
yeah.
allow abortion
Absolutely.
in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that?
This is when you bring up the
Why don't you
stats.
ask her that question?
Why don't you
That's
answer
the
the
problem.
This is when you
Would
bring
you
up the
please
Under
1%
Roe v.
third
Answer the
Wade,
question
trimester.
with your veto.
you could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and probably after birth. Just look at the governor, former
Probably
governor of
after
Virginia.
Come on now.
The governor of Virginia said, we put the baby aside, and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We know it's an issue that's
God.
important to
Oh,
Republicans,
God.
Democrats,
no,
voters across
please
the
don't
board
ruin this
in this
momentum.
country. Vice President Harris,
You
you were
do it
tasked
so
by
well.
President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that
Don't say
illegal
that.
border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations
It's
for the
just like the
trafficking
ad.
of guns, drugs, and
Yeah,
human beings.
This is going to be rough.
And
rough
let me
section.
say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress, and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
Okay.
And understand,
that's
this
what they wanted out
comes
of that.
at a time
Yeah, I was going to say
where
acceptable
the people
enough,
of
I
our
guess.
country actually need a
Within the
leader
context.
who engages in solutions, who actually
just in the
addresses
context.
the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Biden, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so? That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me respond to the rallies.
Get him.
She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can
This looks so bad.
People don't leave my rallies.
That looks so bad for
The biggest
him.
rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back.
so good.
Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on
Sounds like a
here,
leftist.
you're going to end up in World War
saying,
III, just to
he's
go
a
to another
campus.
subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it.
We're in Springfield. We
In
got
Springfield, they're
Yo.
eating the dogs, the people that came in.
You got it
They're
wrong.
eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that
This
live
looks
there.
unhinged.
And this is what's
This is
happening in our
unhinged.
country, and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like
Oh
what
my
I say.
God.
They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country, and if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of
eating
success.
cats and
None of our
dogs.
success will end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there had been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being
Fact checking live on air. Let's go.
by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog
See?
was taken.
TV. They tell me on the
for food.
TV.
So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
but
television.
The people
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
This is
Again,
insane.
the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme.
Let's go.
You know, this is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. And if you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a 4-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the Republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond here.
You could have defended immigrants
Thank
better.
you, because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person.
Yes, you could have directly called out people.
Not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people who's were just killed viciously and violently killed. And I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because
but also it was Trump's plan.
Competently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper. He was no good. I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one writes a book. Because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they. But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any president, sitting president, in history by far.
Except for Joe Biden.
Yeah, because he wasn't the sitting president at the time.
Earlier, so let's get back to your deportation proposal that the vice president has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S. military. You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah, it is much higher. Because of them. They allowed criminals, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country. And they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one
crime
of the
is also down in our country.
History for them to allow, and I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world, Crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof,
That's
despite their fraudulent
empirically
statements
false.
that they made.
FBI
Crime in this
crime
country
statistics,
is
baby.
through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime, and it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know,
crime.
the FBI says overall
shit,
violent
dog.
crime
Oh
is
my
actually
God.
coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris, I'll
FBI
give you
they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a
And what are those
fraud.
cities?
Just like their number
Say
of
what those cities are, because it's not New
818,000
York.
jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is so rich, coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault,
Let's
and his
fucking go.
next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And
Let's
let's be
fucking go.
clear.
This has to
Where
count as
each
felon
person
mention.
stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this,
Defund the police?
on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we
Oh my God,
turn
we
the
almost had bingo.
page on this same old tired
Oh, wait, the
rhetoric
Afghanistan mention
and
did happen.
address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries.
Okay,
But
kind of rambling
frankly,
now.
the American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case?
That was
They said,
not
well,
a criminal
that's the toughest
trial.
of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out.
Joe Biden's
It's
document case did not
weaponization, and they
involve
used it,
him
and it's never
leaking the
happened in this
locations
country.
of secret
They
bases.
used it to try and win an election. They're
President Trump,
fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris,
Oh
on the
my
notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
He's very much on
Let's
the
talk
back foot.
about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United
context.
States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has openly expressed disdain for members of our military.
Yeah, for real.
Understand what it would
She
mean
fucking
if Donald
hates him.
Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails. Because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people to stop him.
Stray.
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president.
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably took a bullet.
We're just
to the
letting him
head
go?
because of the things
Trump
that
got
they
out.
say
He
about
mentioned it.
me. They talk
mentioned
about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy with
It
a
was a
fake
Republican.
Russia investigation
We do have a lot to
that
get.
went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now
Flip-flopper.
you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback
Flip-flopper.
programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing
valid.
border
She did say all of
crossings.
this.
Now
This
you're
is
taking
true.
a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
Because I listen to American
My
voters.
values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss every one of the, at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in
This is
2020.
direct mention.
I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to
We're so close to
invest
bingo.
in diverse sources of
Edging
energy
a
so we
bingo.
reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot
Unfortunately true.
over-rely on foreign oil.
Yeah.
As it relates
Sad.
to my values, let me tell you, I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager. The values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy
Real.
6 times.
Real.
The value that I bring to my work to say we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase 3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then on protecting women and children from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded in the importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on long-standing work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down and name-calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
Obama.
Well, first of all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please.
Oh my God, Minnesota burned?
Does that sound familiar?
Oh. Does that sound familiar? No way.
She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is
Transgender operations on illegal alien
liberal.
prison? I never could have cooked that.
She wants to
in the darkest depths of my mind.
and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish one thing so important, in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead, fossil fuel will be dead, we'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out of it. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take
what?
400, 500 acres of desert
President
soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that we
for the
have to get to.
environment.
Thank you.
Solar, but not when they do it.
In just 56 days. And I want to talk about the peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
you just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace.
Oh, Ashley Babbitt.
We didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar. Remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to control the border czar because she's.
I think we're almost. I think we need a slur for it to hit bingo.
I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet.
Oh my God!
Because she knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America? They're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world. And crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just
when
ask
are those,
you.
David, when are those people going to be prosecuted?
I don't know
when
where
are the
he's
people
getting
that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted? Or in Seattle, they went into
Burn down
Seattle,
Minneapolis.
They took
Wow.
over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be
Jazz
prosecuted?
mentioned.
But let me just ask you.
You might ask her that question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes or no?
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C.
Nancy Pelosi.
And the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, you know, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just
I don't think
2
she
weeks
has
ago.
the
Her
authority.
daughter has
He's
a
the
tape
president.
of her saying
She can't say
she
no
is
to
fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never
Yeah, I don't
happened
think the
if
Speaker of the
Nancy
House
Pelosi
controls the
and the
National
mayor
Guard.
of Washington
Correct me
did
if
their
I'm wrong.
jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi. But I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th.
Oh.
I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator.
Bingo,
I was
baby.
there.
Come on.
And
Let's
on
go,
that
baby.
day, the President of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand, the former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then
Fine
at the
people on
time
both
say?
sides.
There were fine people on each side.
Snopes is going to have to deal with
Remember that when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia,
Stand back and
the
stand by.
president said, the former president said, stand back and stand by.
Oh my God,
So
cooking.
for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos, and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
Double bingo. Oh my
different
God.
term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people
Nightmare
they
blood
covered it.
rotation.
If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost
Laura
every
Ingraham said it
newspaper,
was, guys.
but they still bring it up, just like they
Guys
bring
know they mentioned it on the
2025 up.
Ingram angle.
They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this. You talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing
about
anything?
immigrants.
And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right
That's a
now.
cold shot on her
I'd like
part.
to see her go down to Washington, D.C.
said,
during
"I
this
wanna
debate
leave
because
this
we're
debate
wasting a lot
right
of time.
now."
Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a
about
bill
to
to
leave
close up the
mid-debate?
border because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it.
They
The
had a
President of
bill
the
ready.
United States, you'll get them out of bed. You'll wake them up
As
at
much
4
as I
o'clock in
don't
the
like
afternoon.
it,
You'll say,
can't
come on,
really hit
come
her
on
on
down to
this.
the office. Let's sign a bill. If he signs a
What is
bill
he
that the
saying?
border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Who are
Those
phenomenal.
people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say
sarcastically.
But
You know that. It was,
Come on,
oh, we
brother.
lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look,
What is
there's
it?
so much
What?
proof.
He actually
Let's
won.
look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75
They
million
approved it,
votes,
big
the
dog.
most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about an election as
true.
fraudulent. We need two things. We need
I said it
walls. We
sarcastically.
need, and we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying
Something
to
they
get
can't
them
do.
to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your
He's the
allies,
goat.
60 cases in front of many judges, many of them
No
Republican.
judge looked at it.
And said
They
there was
said
no
we didn't have
widespread fraud.
standing. That's the other thing.
That's-
They said we didn't have standing.
I don't-
Technicality.
is that true?
Can you imagine a system where
not
a
a
person in an
technicality.
election doesn't have
Yeah.
standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you
Shouldn't
look
just
at
be
the
able to bring a
facts, and I'd
slap
love
suit
ask
to
you
anything
do a
because you're the
special on
president.
it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter.
I'll show you
Because we
Georgia,
have to
where I told
solve
them
the
to find
problem
me
that we have
votes.
right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisker. So he still believes he did not lose the election that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your
Crazy 'cause
campaign's top lawyers responded
Didn't
saying,
Republican
"We won't let
election
Donald
officials
Trump
try to hold
intimidate
up the
us.
results in
We won't let
2020
him
in Michigan?
suppress the vote." Is
Yeah,
that what you believe
yeah.
he's trying to do here?
The certifiers or whatever
Donald
it is.
Yeah, the
Trump was
certifiers in Wayne
defied
County,
by
right?
81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did, in fact, lose that election, It leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about
COVID.
fact.
COVID
That's
got me.
deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men,
No
they call him a
way.
strong man. He's a
No
tough
way.
person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary.
Viktor Orban.
They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago, it wasn't. Why is it blowing up?
The dictator.
Because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was
Guys,
afraid,
a
and I don't like to
dictator
use the
likes
word
me.
afraid, but
Oh
I'm
my
just
God,
quoting
they-
him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way.
Guys, Viktor
He said
Orban has
Russia
such
was
great
afraid of him.
judgment.
I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline.
Oh my
The
God, no way we're
XL
back to Keystone
pipeline
XL.
in our country.
Insane.
He ended that, but he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into
And
Germany.
also,
the
like,
biggest pipeline
the
in
Keystone
the world.
Pipeline was
Look,
on our soil.
Viktor Orban said it.
Meaningfully
The
different.
most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president, but when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes.
He
got
misses
14
Biden so
million
much.
Oh my
votes.
God.
What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He
Not
can't
true, but
stand
that's a
her.
bingo.
But
Mr.
he
President.
got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but
Mr.
I'm
President,
okay with it
Mr.
because
President, your time is
I
up.
think we're
Thank
going to
you.
do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now
Yes.
to the Israel-Hamas war and
No.
hostages who are still
No.
being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said,
just keep
quote,
giving him
Israel
the
has a
last
right to
word.
defend itself, but
Yeah.
you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians.
Word.
You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain.
Yo.
Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Moderator's cooking.
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7,
Oh no.
Hamas, a terrorist organization,
No, why did it pause?
Yo.
There we go.
slaughtered
One of my-
1,200 Israelis.
My AirPods
Many of
died.
them young people who
We're
were
good, though.
simply attending a concert.
We're good.
Women were horribly
easy.
raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so
That's not the
matters.
question.
Because it is
I'm
also
gonna
true,
mute myself
far
and let
too
these hosts
many
charge so that doesn't happen again.
innocent Palestinians have been killed.
Let me know if the
Children,
screen
mothers.
stops making noise.
What we know is that
Oh shit, pause.
war must end.
There we
It
go.
must end immediately, and the way it will end
What
is
the
we
fuck
need
is
a
going on with this
ceasefire
audio?
deal, and we need the hostages out.
Oh my god,
And so we will
audio.
continue to work around the clock on
So her answer is just the same as it's always been. Just we're going to continue to work around the clock ceasefire deal. I hope the moderators drum back and say, but Netanyahu has been shutting these down. There is no deal.
work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course
Yeah,
for a
good now.
two-state solution. And in
Anthony
that
Blinken is not
solution,
doing his
there must
job.
be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran.
That's not the question,
and any
though.
threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
Oh my god, but how are we going to get there?
How would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever. I know Putin very well. He would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people.
Oh, now we're talking about Ukraine.
Far worse than people understand what's going on over there.
Okay.
When she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was
After
at
he
the
was convicted
sorority
of being a
party
war
of
criminal.
hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that
That's
one.
crazy.
She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for
And
Hamas
nukes
or
because
Hezbollah
you
or
pulled
any
out
of
of
the
the
28
JCPOA.
spheres of terror, and they are spheres of terror,
Or
horrible
are
terror. They
developing
had no
nuclear
money.
technology.
It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation, and now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate Israel.
That's absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life.
This is exactly what I
and the
expected out of
Israeli
Harris.
people.
She's
He knows
repeating
that
the same
he's
line
trying
she
to,
repeated
again,
in the
divide
CNN
and
interview, and that she's been
distract
saying
the
on what
reality,
any
it is very
time she's
well
been questioned
known
about this.
that Donald Trump is
I wish it
right
wasn't
and
like
wrong
that,
on
but
national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day
Victor
one,
Orban.
according to himself. It is well known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un.
Damn.
And it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting
Love letters,
for
fucks.
you to be president again because they're so clear. They can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on
Vice
national
President
security,
Harris.
including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
They are not muting
Vice
these
President
mics.
Harris, thank you.
They're the ones, and she's the one.
Oh, they're just letting them go. This
For
fucks.
national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think
Putin endorsement.
because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over
I guess
Europe?
this fits into his whole
Because
energy
they're weak
independence
and they're
narrative.
ineffective. And Biden, by the way,
President
gets paid
Trump,
a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential debate from the National Constitution Center.
Oh my God, COVID is crazy. This is Trump's version of Biden's NATO. A break. Yeah, did we go live on the thing now? Yeah, okay, cool. Huh. I wish that the mods would have got Harris not answering the goddamn Israel question about how she would get that done. But other than that, she's been doing a great job. She's been attacking him like we said she should. It's like she watched our episode about the interview and she took notes. You know what I'm saying?
Trying to reconnect my goddamn AirPods. These bitches are like 5 years old, so no wonder they shit out on us. Hold on.
Damn, everything failing us this week, gang. She is a HITO head. Maybe. She
Yeah, I'm
maybe
letting
she
his
just
ass
doesn't
down.
listen to the end of the episode when they talk.
Yeah. So overall, I feel like she's doing pretty well. She's hitting Trump where Biden should have hit Trump back when he debated back in June. Somebody dropped in the comments, or not the comments, in the chat, that they felt as though the moderators, or at least the dude, is like being hard on Trump. I think he's being exactly what a moderator should be on Trump.
Yes.
Honestly, I feel like he's doing a good job. They're both doing a good job, but I think I think they're doing well. I don't know why they're allowing Trump to have the last word on every issue, but like it's not like he's doing that well anyway. He's really tweaking out now that a
Yeah.
woman is beating him in a debate.
No, I guess the only time where it would feel like moderators were biased is, like I said, not making Kamala answer the question. But they also didn't make Trump answer the question. You know what I mean? They've kind of only stepped in to just fact check the egregious lies that Trump has been telling.
Yeah, I do wish Kamala Harris would. She's been doing a really good job so far, but I wish she would like take what he says and just call it nonsense or call him stupid. You know what I
Yes.
mean? She's been doing the thing where she's like, we can't go back to this. People don't want this anymore. Same old playbook. But I like be harsher. Call him dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think?
Yeah. What's the chat verdict on this one?
She's been making him pretty mad.
I can't believe he shushed her. I can't believe he did.
I know. That was crazy. He said,
I
I'm
can't
talking.
believe
Does that
that.
sound familiar?
And then I cannot believe the illegal immigrants are coming over and going to prison and then getting gender reassignment surgery.
That's crazy. That's genuinely insane.
I never could have come up with that. His mind truly is something special.
And then
It really
he's
is.
saying that immigrants are coming from every other country and crime is down in every country except here now. Just blatantly a lie. Just empirically untrue. That's crazy. Viktor Orban mentioned is also wild. He's like, that dictator, he loves me.
Yes. Yeah, and it is crazy. Fucking Emma Claire about the Putin endorsement. He always talks about him in a great relationship. Don't seem like that no more.
Mm-hmm.
Viktor Orban mentioned is nuts, bro. Like, you don't have to do that. I think he's gonna get away with it though, because most people don't know who Viktor Orban is. But
yeah,
the crime points are speaking to people who fact check. That is absolutely the crime points. But it's like they're so insane and off the walls that I don't think they're registering with non-partisan. I don't think people actually believe that crime is down literally everywhere else in the world, and we are only importing illegal. Everybody else is criminals. Like that is such an insane thing to believe. You cannot be a median voter, as awful as they are.
It's so crazy how he brought up the eating cats and dogs thing. That was
Like twice or
insane.
thrice.
Yeah,
They're eating dogs. I saw it on TV.
You could tell that he didn't want to, but then he was like, he eventually got to it. Was like, they're eating cats and dogs. Oh my god!
Just the fact that he defends it, he gets fact checked, and he goes, "Nope, I saw it on. They told me on TV. They're eating." Goodness, bro.
Crazy. All right.
We're going to continue here, and I want to turn to the war in Ukraine. We're now 2.5 years into this conflict. Mr. President, it has been the position of the Biden administration that we must defend Ukraine from Russia, from Vladimir Putin, to defend their sovereignty, their democracy, that it's in America's best interest to do so, arguing that if Putin wins, he may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being people being killed by the millions. It's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in for $250 billion or more.
For real, old. He's old. He's too old to do it.
Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO. We're the bigger country, dog. They paid billions and billions.
Biden and you. Who is you? Is he fighting?
Said, either
or did he point to Kamala?
We're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for $250 to $275 billion. They're into 100 to
I don't think that's
150.
true.
They should
Yeah.
be forced to
We're giving them
equalize.
mostly
With that
like our
being said,
old decommissioned
I want to get
shit
the war
that we aren't
settled.
gonna use
I know
anyway.
Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very
And
well.
I think if he's
have a
talking
good
about like
relationship, and they respect
NATO funding,
your
you pay
president,
proportional to
okay?
your
They
GDP, don't
respect
you?
me. They don't
Or
respect
to your
Biden.
size or
They
whatever?
respect him. Why?
Pretty sure
For
it's
what
GDP.
reason?
So,
He
like,
hasn't
yeah, we
even
pay the
made a
most
phone
'cause
call in
big
2
country.
years to Putin.
Yeah.
He hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect,
Before,
what I'll do is I'll speak
that's a
to
line
one,
from the
I'll
Biden
speak to
debate.
the other, I'll get them together.
That's
That war
president-elect.
would have never happened. And in fact, when I
I'll
saw
put him in a room and I'll
Putin
make him
after I
kiss.
left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left, I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because
Why
Biden
would you
had
think
And
no
I saw
idea
him
how
building
to
up
He
soldiers.
had no idea how to stop it, and now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing
If
with
anything's
going to
lead to World War III, it's the other one.
that we don't even know if he's. Where is our president? We don't even know.
That's
if
a
he's
good-ass
president.
question,
Just to
actually.
clarify
They
here.
threw him in the campaign like a dog. We don't even know.
Like a
Is he our
dog.
president? But we
Like a
have
dog that's being
president
eaten up in
that
Aurora,
doesn't come
Ohio.
alive.
Your time is up. Just to clarify in the question, do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
Damn.
Negotiate
Yes or no,
a deal,
brother?
because we have to stop all of these human lives from being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris. I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me.
There we go.
Good.
I believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not
Real?
who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful
Banner, that's a great point. If he could solve this issue as president-elect, why can't he solve it now?
understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Ooh. Vice President Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on Ukraine tonight. Ann came up in the last hour. I wanted her to respond.
Oh, he's
to
trying to
something you
talk.
said
That's
earlier.
what that was.
Please, I'll give you a minute here.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow,
I'm saying.
and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting.
Please, is
Much
crazy.
happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that.
Which is
And
why you don't want him
eventually,
to expand.
maybe he'll use them, and maybe he has
No, that's why he should be able to do whatever he wants.
But he does have that, something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a
I wouldn't be talking about worse VPs if I were you.
They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one.
This fellow.
When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him
fart
5
smelling.
times. The reality is it has been about standing as America always should, as a leader upholding international rules and norms, as a leader who shows strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is at stake here. The President of the United States is commander-in-chief. And the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the benefit of personal flattery.
We've talked about Ukraine and Vladimir Putin. I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I want to move on to Afghanistan.
Stoltenberg said Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen. He's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen. For years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you. Otherwise, we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Does he not think that, like,
Afghanistan.
global stability is good for the country?
And we witnessed
I don't know.
today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal.
Not saying that NATO's perfect.
I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result,
Obama.
America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And
$300 million a day is crazy.
Not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, and the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them to Camp David because he
was about to bust out a slur.
Appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be commander Commander-in-Chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to
Call him a cracker.
began the negotiations
thank
with the
you.
Taliban.
This cracker.
If you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, you know, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, it was we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it.
That shit was like Ford F-150s.
This.
I remember the Fox News B-roll.
They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst
Holy
withdrawal.
moly.
And in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you.
Wow.
I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote,
No way.
I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago.
This is so
she
sick.
happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. I want to
Making
ask
him
you a
talk
bigger
about his
question here
nuts.
tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
Oh my God.
Words, so
I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think it's, I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was land, he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual
Deep cut.
who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling
true.
for the execution of 5 young black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5.
Damn, she pulled up prepped
Took
for
out a
this.
full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first black president of the United States.
A bungler.
And I think the American people want better than
Barack Hussein
better
Obama.
than this. Want someone who understands, as I
A
do, I
bungler.
travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people? Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your 3rd time.
That's a phenomenal, like,
This is the
talking
most
point lead up.
divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said. Going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park Five, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they
I
pled
don't think this is
guilty,
the case
they
you want to
only
be
hurt the
defending,
person,
buddy.
killed the person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. You know, she's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know you, gentlemen. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
Thank you. Your time is up, Lindsay.
We are Biden.
Briefly. Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country. One who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction, to pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for
Small
young
business tax
families for the
deductions?
first year of your child's life, to help
Are we eligible?
in that most
Yeah, for
critical
real.
stage of your child's development. I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream by offering a help with down payment of $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. That's
He
the
is so
kind of
on message.
conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name-calling. Let's turn the page
Vice President
and move
Harris,
forward.
thank you. Let's turn to policy.
President
Let's
Trump,
turn back
we
to
have
policy.
to move on. President Trump.
Let's turn to policy, please.
He's destroying our
To
country.
defund the police. She has a plan to
Why are we letting him
confiscate
talk?
everybody's gun.
President Trump,
she
we
has
do
a
have to
plan
move on to
not
other
allow
issues.
fracking in Pennsylvania
Fracking.
or anywhere else.
Okay.
That's
Thank you,
what
Mr.
her
President.
plan is until just recently.
I just
He
need
sounds
to-
like he's posting on
President
Facebook.
Trump, President
Like,
has said
No,
something twice that I need to respond to.
I'm sorry, we're
I just
going
need
to
to
move on,
respond
Vice
one
President
time
Harris.
to what he has
President
said
Trump, this
multiple
is
times.
now your
Yes.
third time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as
This is going
Obamacare.
longer
You
than
have
90.
failed to accomplish
Can't lie.
that. You now
Yeah.
say you're going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something much
The
better.
debate.
Last
I
week, you
remember
said,
this
quote,
talking
"We're
point during the
working on it."
2020
So
debate.
tonight, 9 years after you
He
first
kept saying,
started
I have a
running,
plan, I have
do
a
you have a
plan.
plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care, always was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it.
Why
if they
would
would have
they?
done that, we would have had a
Yeah.
much better
He
plan
was just
than
saying earlier that
Obamacare.
she couldn't get
But
a
the
national
Democrats
abortion
came
protection
Up, they wouldn't
because of
vote for
Congress.
it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, never going to be great, or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't.
And they wrote
Let me
books.
just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing, but it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is
Doesn't it
we're
save,
looking
like,
at different
millions of
plans.
people
If we can
money
come up with a plan that's
every
going to
year?
cost
The
our
ACA.
people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan, I'm not president right now. But if
he was president-elect,
something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive.
I'll make a plan when I'm the president. That's insane.
To do that, and you'll be hearing about it in the not-too-distant future.
Vice President Harris, in 2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run healthcare system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private healthcare options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the affordable. I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just need to respond to a previous point that the former president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking, and then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away, so stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I was a senator at the time when I will never forget the early morning hours when it was up for a vote in the United States Senate. And the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being, you don't like him, you said at the time, because he got caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell the people watching tonight, you remember what that was like?
That's pretty good.
Remember when an insurance company could deny?
Yeah, that's crazy that they used to be able to do that.
If someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a
nuts.
grandparent had diabetes. And thankfully, as I've been vice president, and we, over the last 4 years, have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, we have allowed, for the first time, Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president, we have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value I bring to this is that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. And the plan has to be to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, not get rid of it,
Vice President Harris,
in terms of where Donald Trump stands on that.
I want to move to
Discord crash is crazy.
You made a mistake.
Trying to keep us down.
At number one, John McCain fought Obama.
Yeah, it just crashed for me. I'm back.
Only him. It were all of the.
We're still talking about John McCain.
Kept it going. Yeah. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare. Much less money, but she won't improve private insurance for people. Private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to do. People are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you
the existence of a public option, like, it wouldn't, oh my God.
Thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris, you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said that climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either buying home insurance or
you
ask anybody who has.
And we like barely have winter anymore. It doesn't snow till December.
In terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go, we know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue.
I miss snow.
That as vice president over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increase
It used
domestic
to
gas
snow on
production to
Halloween
historic
here in
levels.
Michigan.
We have created over
You don't got to
800,000 new
bring the fracking
manufacturing
back
jobs
up.
while I'm president.
Pennsylvania.
We have invested in
It's the most
clean energy
existential
to the
issue, but
point
we
that
also
we are
keep
opening
fracking.
up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who
Oh,
also
word,
know that
UAW.
part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President,
Real.
thank you.
That didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. It's going, they're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China. They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our
Tariffs
country
again.
because they will
You
kill
does the tariff
United
thing
Auto
pull
Workers
well?
and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place.
People like
what
the idea of
they've done
shifting
to
like
business and
economic issues
manufacturing
onto
in
other
this
people,
country
but
I
that's
is
think
not
so
what I did.
too, but
horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. You know, Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his
10% to the
son,
big man.
they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay
I don't even know what he's
$3.5
referencing there.
million?
Why did your fucking son-in-law get $2 billion from Saudi Arabia? Or was it Saudi Arabia or the UAE? Like,
Saudi Arabia,
We'll be
yeah.
right back with closing statements from both of our
All right,
candidates in a
get another
historic
break.
night. This ABC News presidential.
Word. That's fucking nuts. It's just another unhinged section.
so
I
I
don't
wondered.
even know what to say.
Yeah, no, that shit is ridiculous. It's got to be closing statements next, right? Like, I don't think there's anything else they would ask.
Mm-hmm. They said closing statements next.
Oh, they did. Okay, word. Man, what
That's
a good performance. I went in it with a low expectation,
uh-huh.
and I'm
Yes.
glad that I'm presently surprised.
Yeah, she hit him, and he's been on the back foot the entire time. Like he's very obviously having to talk a lot faster and a lot more forcefully and aggressively than he did with Joe Biden.
And like
So I think
the things he's saying are just deranged. And I don't even mean like the things he's saying are deranged from like my perspective. I feel like regular people cannot fuck with the shit that he's saying. Regular people cannot fuck with the immigrants are coming to Ohio and eating your dog. Like that is only a story that blows up on conservative Twitter and Reddit.
Kamala Harris is giving transgender surgeries to illegal immigrants.
Yeah, that is something that lives and should live and die on Facebook. Like that's
so
not media voter.
Like, where did he get that from? Is he just like pulling different culture war items in his brain and mashing them together, or did he see that somewhere?
It's gotta be.
And the thing is, like,
so sick.
Now Republicans are gonna have to defend that somehow because you know they're not gonna call them out.
The fucking floundering around abortion. He really put himself in a corner when he came out a couple months ago and he said, "I'm the guy that fucking got Roe v. Wade overturned." And I don't know why he hasn't pivoted away from that. As Kamala pointed out, rightfully and justly, abortion hasn't once lost on the ballot in any state. Nobody likes the Supreme Court.
That's so fucking crazy. Yeah, he just owned up to that. Trump has gotten his ass kicked this time.
The Supreme Court's approval rating has been in like the shitter since Roe v. Wade got overturned. I don't know why he would think it's a good idea. I don't know why Tulsi Gabbard would think it's a good idea for him to talk about how he got those 3 justices on, unless he is desperately afraid of losing the pro-life crowd after the statements he made about the Florida ballot initiative.
Yeah, oh yeah, I have concepts of a plan. That's just so funny. So do you have a healthcare plan? Yes or no? I have concepts of a plan. I don't know. I'm not the president.
I'm not the president. Why would I come up with a plan? I'm not the president.
That's so good. Oh my god. This has been a good debate. This has been a good. I'm less worried. This is all upsides so far, and I figure that's not going to change with these last few minutes.
polar opposite of the Biden debate.
Yeah, 100%. We'll be
Uh,
fundraising for Palestine at the VP debate. It's just
yes.
we're gonna do it through YouTube.
And we
On
figured we'll have
actually,
bigger reach that way, be able to raise more money. So save your pocketbooks for then. The VP debate's
yeah,
in like what, 2, 3 weeks anyway?
yeah, October 1st. I think we were gonna do it until COVID hit, and I took another
Yeah.
tumble onto the concrete. So.
Till COVID hit and then the fucking spin bike hit. Oh my god. No, you know what? Maybe we got shit on so that she could do well, you know what I mean? Give and
Hey
take,
man,
zero
I'll
sum
take it.
game type shit.
I'll take
I'll
it. I'll
take it.
take
I'll
it.
take it.
You know, it's been good except for Israel. It was genuinely tough to listen to that. That was bad.
Yeah, no, that was bad. Exactly what I expected, which sucks.
Are the spin bikes the pay? No, they're the scooters, the electric scooters.
Yes,
I
that's what
think
I'm at.
there might be bicycles too, but the scooters, yeah, the orange ones is fucked up, man. It's a tough break for a guy like me.
I'm saying, man, you should sue.
They got waivers built into that shit. There's no way I can.
That's true. That's crazy.
They banned those on UCSD's campus because they gave them a. Oh my god, that's tragic.
What the fuck?
Genuinely crazy. Yeah, they should be banned. They should outlaw those bitches. Yeah, Trump bringing up the immigrants eat cats thing is crazy. And every single time it pans back to him or he gets to talk again, he's like, "This country is going to hell." I feel like that doesn't sell. I feel like that doesn't sell.
I don't think so either. I really don't think so. Like he was doing that thing in 2016, but a lot less. You know what I mean? His
Yeah,
his
this
rhetoric
feels
in
dramatic.
2016, it was much less focused on we literally live in the end times, and it was more so let's go back to the good times. There's a meaningful difference there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it just makes it seem like so dark and dreary and like I don't know, scary. I feel like the average voter doesn't want that.
And it doesn't help when he's literally sitting here saying we import crime.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's go.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past.
Why is Trump getting the
and
final
an
word
attempt to take us
every time?
backward. But we're
Golly.
not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes
won the coin
having a
toss.
plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do.
Message, let's go.
I'll tell you, I
This is good.
started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people.
Fuck
And
yeah.
I'll tell you, as a
good.
prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I
Ooh.
ever asked them, are you okay?
That's good.
And that's
Unity
the kind
rhetoric.
of president we need right now. Someone who
But
cares
good
about
unity
you
rhetoric.
and is not putting themselves first.
Always take the VP
I
job.
intend to be a president
Always
for
take
all
the VP job.
Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
So
They're
she
literally
started
eating
by saying
dogs.
she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it and you won't do it
Like,
because
you killed the
believe in
bill.
things
Like,
that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack, we're not going to take fossil fuel, we're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice
They're
our
Europeans.
country
They
for
suck.
the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing
Be
nation.
racist like Germany.
We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me.
I know
We're
Viktor
laughed
Orban
at
and
all
Putin
over the
very
world.
well.
They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC
Ramble.
presidential debate from here in
Okay.
Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center.
Does anybody else feel like both of the candidates honestly got far more than 2 minutes? Like I feel
Absolutely.
like they spoke a lot longer oftentimes. Yeah, anyway, same shit as that we were saying before the closing statements. I feel like all this like down in the dump shit does not appeal to people. And it's low-key Nazi shit. Like the Nazis got very popular off this idea that Germany was humiliated on a global scale. And that's kind of the same thing that he's saying here, just without invoking anti-Semitism, of course. But I don't know. Seems like a losing argument, but at the same time, we are historically not the best at understanding the mind of the average median voter. So
It's
I
a
don't know.
hard thing to gaze into. It's like the
Yeah.
abyss.
It's tough. It's tough. But yeah, post-debate opinions. I think Kamala Harris did good. I think she hit all the major notes. I think the Israel answer was bad, but like that's kind of what we expected.
Yeah.
But I think she outperformed my expectations. I just expected something boring, but she went after him, and I think she genuinely hates that guy.
No, for real. And it's like, it's good. It's good. Like you said, everything was really spot on except for the Israel answer.
Yeah.
Except for the ducking the Israel question.
Yeah, and I think she could like when they were talking about immigrants and he brought up like the immigrants are eating cats and dog shit. Like you don't she doesn't have to chime in and say that's not true because the moderators did it and for a lot of people on its face it's just absurd. But I think it would look good and especially help with more progressive types if she jumped in and would say like you shouldn't, I don't know, something to the effect of like it's just racist to say that like you're talking down to immigrants, you're just being
Yeah.
hateful because you don't have any other policy position, that kind of thing. There was no real defense of immigrants in her response to that, which I think is an easy layup there because it's so fucking crazy to say that they're eating cats in Ohio.
Or just come in and say, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Just some acknowledgement from her on that one would have been better, but I don't think she did bad. I guess I do wish on immigration, if I'm adopting the frame of the liberal mind, I wish she would have hit harder on the idea that he's the one that killed the border bill. Especially because he kept like railing it in.
Yeah, she did. I thought she did a good job when she first hit on it, though.
Yes, absolutely.
It was either that bill was going to pass and it was going to be bad, objectively bad.
Yes.
Or it doesn't pass, and then they get this message that they tried to do something and Republicans stopped them. That's the only like good spin they got out of that, and they got what they wanted. And this is the first time I've seen someone actually land that attack successfully in like a high profile way. But yeah, she probably could have brought it back around like a few times. Every time he brought up immigrants, she should have said like, "Well, you didn't let us pass the deal."
Exactly, yeah. You called up your goons on Capitol Hill and you didn't let them pass the bill. You called up your obstructionist Senate.
I would bet that it was like every answer he invoked immigrants, and in every response she could have said like, "We tried to pass a deal." Which again, the framing there is still right wing in the sense that like the premise that we need to stop the flow of immigration is already faulty and I think a little fascistic. But politically she could have scored those points, and I think she left us on the table. But overall, I think the strategy seemed to be let him ramble, and that'll make him look bad enough. I think it makes him look bad, but I also have my reservations about the ability of the median voter to look at that and think he did bad. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm just not, I don't have that much faith in the average voter.
'Cause it's just like it is so hard to gauge the median voter, like,
Yeah.
because it's specifically because it's hard to gauge that line where you cross over into just being a partisan. It's hard to gauge how focused on crime, like, the average person has to be before they're just a Republican.
Right. I did like that the moderators said for like abortion and immigration and a couple of the things. They just said to his face, like, no, that's not right.
Yeah, that's good.
Like when he said their post-birth abortions or 9-month abortions or whatever, they were like, that's just not true. And they're right. They're right. It's not true.
They are right, they are right. No, that's great. I love how they did not stick to the published rules.
Yeah.
I love how they did fact check and they did let the mics were basically unmuted, let's be real. As soon as Trump started talking he wasn't supposed to, they just gave him time. Like,
Yeah. No, and they let Trump get the last word every single time. It was
yeah.
annoying.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time when he spoke up, it looked bad for him because he was just rambling, but still.
Yeah, I don't think it did him any favors, but I don't
Yeah.
like that he had the opportunity.
The big winner of tonight's debate is fracking, absolutely. The fucking ExxonMobil is chilling.
Yes, absolutely.
They are happy with whatever outcome.
John Fetterman loved this debate. I can tell you that right now.
Fuck yeah, John Fetterman is gas. He's geeked for Kamala Harris. Dick Cheney mentioned is crazy. Are you back in the studio next Sunday? As long as this dude tests negative.
Yeah, as long as the kid doesn't have COVID anymore.
But yeah, that's the plan. I should be good enough to move around a bit more after the surgery. I'm pretty sure we got a couple of bingos. That was a very good, very solid bingo card we put together.
We filled up that bingo card like crazy. Oh my
Uh-huh.
goodness.
And I didn't feel like those were just gimmies a lot of the time. I felt like those were like Dick Cheney mentioned. That's a
Yeah.
specific thing.
Well, it's Venezuelan immigrants taking over Springfield, Colorado apartments and Haitian immigrants eating dogs in Ohio. I didn't actually think that was getting brought up.
We got that in one answer. one answer from Trump, we got both of those.
And then multiple times? Like, brother, what? Tulsi Gabbard did not do a good job. Tulsi Gabbard needs to be fired.
No, Tulsi Gabbard fumbled the ball.
Didn't even hit her on Coppola. Didn't even Coppola.
Debate preparation, fake job. Fake job.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Tulsi Gabbard is secretly on our side. Maybe. She's a fucking sleeper cell.
Did we think Tulsi was going to be helpful? No, but like I thought maybe he would get one moment that's like, oh, that was Tulsi Gabbard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Libs of TikTok is having a meltdown on Twitter.
She could have. I feel like Kamala Harris also could have gone a little harder on the Project 2025 stuff. I know it's like, I can't even say it's very online anymore because like everyone's talking about it. But
Yeah.
she could have. All she needed to say was like, X number of people that worked for Trump now work on Project 2025. JD Vance wrote the foreword for this other dude's book or whatever. Like just a couple of lines about that, just to like solidify in the watcher's mind that like, yes, Trump is very intimately tied to the Project 2025.
Yeah, and those kind of statements are the kind of statements that can't be disingenuously fact checked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Snopes is going to come on tomorrow and say Trump is not tied to Project 2025. He does not care about the Project 2025 abortion proposals. But you can't deny that JD Vance wrote the foreword. You can't deny that his staffers worked on it. You can't deny that people he surrounds himself with are entrenched in Project 2025.
Someone dropped the link to the JD Vance post-debate interview. We can look at it for a little bit. If someone's got the link. Nobody wants to drop the link? Nobody wants to drop the
Crazy.
link?
Nobody fucks with us anymore. HITO fell off.
ABC Live. Let me see if I can pull up the live. Hold on. It's on cable. Maybe we can just watch live TV. Oh, here it is. Hold up. This might work.
Ben Shapiro, this debate won't matter. It was just eliminated as an inflection point. The American people still know nothing about Kamala Harris's positions. Donald Trump is still Donald Trump, and the legacy media are still giant flaming dog turds. They're coping.
I guess that he wouldn't.
Yeah, he knows
and then
it
it
was
was
bad.
pointed out that you, in fact, said not
All
that
right,
long
here's
ago
the
that he
JD
would
Vance.
veto a national abortion ban. Can you explain the mix-up here?
Well, I think the president's been very clear that he doesn't want a national abortion ban. I think in some ways he finds the question a little bit ridiculous because why are we asking
That's
him about
crazy.
legislation that's never going to actually happen?
That's crazy.
And why he would veto it or not veto it when he says very explicitly that he doesn't support a national abortion ban.
Why wouldn't he
and
veto
wants
it
these
then?
policies to be
He
taken
went on
into the states.
stage
But I
and
think
said
there's
he
a
was very
deeper
much
and
not
important issue
clear
here in
on
this
his
debate, which
position.
is that you had Kamala Harris effectively echoing platitude after platitude after platitude. The American people can't pay their grocery bills on platitudes. They can't put their kids in a house on platitudes.
He's
and
a lot
Kamala
better
Harris
at
had a
this than
lot to
Harris- or
say,
than,
but
Trump is.
very little
That's very
actual
true, but
substance
I
behind
don't.
it.
I don't
How
think
she's
Trump
going to lower
hit
grocery
a
prices, secure the
single
border, and make
concrete
housing
answer
more
on how
affordable in this
Americans would be
country.
able to
She's
afford
been the vice
shit.
president for 3.5 years.
She
He just said we'll
literally
go back
did
to
say-
black house.
And she apparently can't run on much.
She quite literally did say how she'd make housing more affordable like several times.
Exactly, and how she would make just general life more affordable with the child tax credit.
Yeah.
Had you spoken to him about it before you were put in a position to answer that question?
No, I hadn't spoken to him about it because, again, Donald Trump thinks the question is absurd because he
He's
doesn't
in the
support a
cuck
national
chair.
abortion
Like,
ban.
he's in
been
the
explicit
cuck
about it.
chair.
And John,
Crazy.
it's so preposterous for the media to focus so much on an issue where Donald Trump has been crystal clear and not on the fact that people
He's
can't
not
afford
been crystal
groceries
clear.
and housing because of Kamala Harris's policies. This election is actually quite simple, and Kamala Harris and apparently the media would like to
I cannot
distract
wait for the
Americans
Vance
on
debate.
issues, by the way, that Donald Trump's been
It's gonna
crystal
be so
clear
good.
about, but they're not talking nearly enough. This debate didn't talk nearly enough about the fact that Americans are struggling because they can't afford groceries, they can't afford housing, and a lot of their kids are dying of fentanyl overdoses because Kamala Harris has let the Mexican drug cartels take over the southern border. This is a disgrace what's going on in our country, John.
I'm pretty sure Kamala was the one who addressed fentanyl first, right? Or was it Trump?
You've got the best
Yeah.
workers, the most beautiful
And
country,
I mean,
the
as
best
much as we
natural
joke about it,
resources.
that's an issue that people care about.
I'm curious how this Tim Walz JD Vance debate's gonna go.
I'm
Because JD
curious
Vance, you know, he's an Ivy League guy. He knows how to
Because
talk.
he hadn't been crystal clear and he said something different than what you said. That's why I was seeking clarification. But let me ask you about this. We're just very quickly.
We'll give him one more
I
answer
heard
and then
Donald Trump before this debate describe Kamala Harris as, I'll just read a few of them, a low
Walz is just
IQ
gonna call it
individual,
weird, and
somebody who
it's gonna be
doesn't have the
bad.
mental capacity to be president, really dumb, unable to put two sentences together. Is that what you saw on the stage tonight?
John, what I saw was a lot of slogans. I think the American people are smart, and Kamala
Literally
Harris
was
talks to
not
them like their
slogans.
children. She repeats these ridiculous platitudes where if you actually think about what she said, you realize that it doesn't make any sense. She talks a lot about her plans, but then her plans, when you analyze the substance, don't make any sense. And more importantly, John, the American people don't get fed on plans. She has been the vice president.
Okay, yeah,
Really?
that's enough of
The
that.
American people don't appreciate plans for someone who's running for the presidency.
Who needs
That's
a
why
plan? A
Trump's
plan for
on.
healthcare? Who needs a plan?
Who needs a plan? Why do you need a plan? You get in office, you figure it out. You know?
Oh my God! Only concepts. Only
Exactly,
concepts.
yeah.
People don't get fed on plans. Who needs a plan for a universal free school lunch? You don't get fed on a plan. What are we
That's
talking
what I'm
about?
saying. They have the vibes policy axis completely wrong. They forgot that you need policy to reinforce vibes.
You quite literally do get fed on plans. That's funny as hell. that's how we move food, is we plan it out. Well, I appreciate you all for coming out. A special round of applause for our Discord moderators, Dylan and Donovan, for helping us out with this. I'm
Doing
snapping
God's
to
work.
that. But yeah, big round of applause for them. Very helpful.
And big round of applause for like the 250 of you, 182 of you now showing up to the Discord event. I'm actually surprised with the turnout.
Yeah, Discord mod, real job. Unlike
It is.
Democratic strategists.
It is.
Well,
They work
Democratic
way
strategists
harder.
might be a real job now.
That's true. You know what? I'll give them some leeway. If the Walz interview goes well, then Democratic debate prep is maybe they're doing something.
We peaked at 285. That's crazy, because that's like,
that is crazy.
Maybe like 100, 200 from like regular live stream numbers. So we got dedicated fans out here.
Yeah, I wonder. Damn, and that sucks that the feds got us. We could have done crazy numbers on YouTube, I bet.
Yeah, we probably could have fundraised a lot, but we will do it for the VP debate. No
Yes, we
worries.
will. Yes, we
And
will.
that one I'm interested for because JD Vance, like I said, he's got an Ivy League education. He's got that Peter Thiel money. He knows how to talk, but
Yeah, yeah.
we'll see. We'll see how Tim Walz does.
But Walls just has the charisma that JD Vance
Yeah.
completely lacks. Like what JD Vance has in like Ivy League and knowing how to talk, he completely lacks in being a normal person.
No, yeah, Bush had an Ivy League education. That's true. Like, I'm not saying Ivy League education makes you personable or even smart necessarily.
Yeah.
It's just the demon factory over there in every Ivy League, and you learn how to talk good. But that doesn't make you any less fascist, you know.
Exactly.
Sometimes makes you
It's
more.
more so that he went to like law school. You know what I mean? That's why he can talk good.
My surgery's is 32 minutes. I know it's like 6 hours or 7 hours away. It's crazy.
That's
That's right.
nuts.
I had to be here.
Yeah, dude.
Much better than the first one. Moderation was so much better. David Muir and I can't remember what her name was. They're goated though. That was fantastic.
Yeah, no, they killed it. I wonder if they're gonna do another one or if Trump's gonna run like he did in 2020 and they're just gonna do town halls instead. But like that can't be a good look for him. If they do another one, I wonder if it'll be Fox. And then they're just gonna do what Hannity did to Gavin Newsom.
I think they had one more planned.
I'm pretty sure they did.
I want to say like NBC October 20 something, but it might
Ooh.
not happen now because that was rough for Donald Trump. I think everyone knows that was rough.
Oh yeah, they're coping like crazy. That Ben Shapiro tweet is such a massive cope.
Yeah, now I want to see what else we got on Twitter. Let me pull that up. Just to end off the night, see if we got any cope that we can laugh at.
For real.
Twitter.com. Or X.com nowadays. Oh my God.
Ridiculous, brother. Ridiculous, brother.
Yeah, no, I genuinely cannot imagine how that could have gone better. It was pretty good. I'm happy to see it. Lots of
I just can't. They're doing transgender surgeries on illegal aliens, brother. They are. Not only are they taking your kids from school, from math class, and forcing them to take HRT, but they're taking illegal aliens and they're giving them free hormone therapy and transitions. They're giving illegal aliens free double mastectomies and phalloplasties to come over here and do crime.
I'm trying to find someone that would be coping a lot right now. Does Tim Pool got anything to say? He's probably got his mouth shut after all that shit. Trump won all the
People were saying that libs of TikTok was going crazy. Trans immigrants are eating your family dog.
Do you think Republicans are feeling right now about Trump the way we felt about Biden like a month ago or 2 months ago?
Gotta be, right? Like, I don't think that performance was nearly as bad as Biden's, but like, it was a bad look. I would not be surprised if we see a small bump in the polls this week.
Yeah, there would probably be a small bump, but debates historically don't matter that much. And this feels like she did really good against him, but I don't know that it's really going to shake things that much. So I would be prepared for that.
You can only gain so much. What I've learned this year is you can only gain so much from a debate as your opponent fucks up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you go on the debate stage, you don't stand to gain much, but you stand to lose a whole lot, like the nomination, if you will.
Yeah. I can't really find anything. They're like radio silent.
Yeah, for real.
Ben Shapiro said the moderators are the story of the evening, and it isn't a good story. So I guess he didn't like the moderation team.
I can see that being a narrative that comes out of this, is that the moderators were anti-Trump. Because, I mean, anytime he's questioned, they're going to do that.
Yeah.
I doubt we'll see any movement by the margin of error. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be anything crazy, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a point or two, or maybe a couple point boost somewhere at least. You have to check conservative Reddit. Oh my God, yeah, that place is a cesspool. Let me bust out r/conservative. Hold up. Your favorite subreddit is probably going crazy. I appreciate that you remember that. It's crazy on there. I spend too much time on there too.
Matt Walsh being very honest. He said, "My debate analysis won't make anyone happy. I think Kamala was weak and nervous, especially early. She came off as phony and rehearsed the rest of the way. But Trump missed a lot of opportunities to land a blow, rambled too much, and took the bait repeatedly throughout. I don't think this debate moves the needle for either candidate."
I said feed options new. Matt Walsh with the regular. Trump took the bait. 3 against 1, and Trump put up a solid performance, brother. That's cope. That's crazy. Let's read this post on r/conservative.
They didn't even fact check him that much. It was like 3 times.
Yeah, for insane statements, like demonstrably wrong and false statements, right? The debate was close. Harris's strengths were more on the social issues of abortion and healthcare. Trump's strengths were on the immigration, the economy, and foreign policy. We also have to consider that r/conservative was boosting the Venezuela apartment story. Like they were going crazy with it. These people are crazy.
Oh my god, I think I might have found the best cope. The best possible cope.
Oh, hold up, get this. Trump used her own "I'm speaking" line against her to shut her up twice. Brother, that's not a good look. But you gotta know.
Wait, this might be a great one to end off on. This is from failed actor Kevin Sorbo. Did Kamala get the
Oh.
questions beforehand?
That's crazy. That's
So
crazy.
fucking
It makes
good.
you wonder her answers are very rehearsed, brother, because she did debate prep.
That is so
See our
fucking
bingo card. We predicted all of this.
This is great. CNN's job is to knock Biden out. ABC's job was to prop Harris up. The media is the regime. Oh my god. The
That's
moderation team was biased for Trump before. Now they're biased against Trump.
Oh,
Just
check
anything
the
fits with the
Elon
narrative.
feed. Holy shit, the Elon feed might be crazy.
Check the Elon feed. Let me see if I can find Mr. Musk.
I'm surprised he's not pushing himself on everybody's page.
I don't really see him saying much.
Yeah.
No way.
For real? Check where? Let me fucking bust out the news.
I see people on Twitter. Oh yeah, she put out a statement. I watched the debate tonight. This had to have been a pre-made statement. She had this shit written before. Huh? Pretty big.
Oh, so she did do it.
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, there's going to be a bigger bump in the polls from her than there would be for the debate performance. I damn near guarantee that. Didn't she register like some insane amount of people to vote just by posting a link in 2020?
Yeah, and conservatives got very upset about it.
It was like tens of thousands of people registered to vote like overnight, right?
Yeah. I think they called it fraud, which is like, no.
Yeah, no, it's just civic duty and whatnot.
I unfortunately think she did not write that all out so quickly. I think that was probably written by a PR person before.
Yeah, she was probably waiting to see if they performed well.
She is a billionaire. So
this is true. This is very true.
I'm not anti-Taylor, trust me. I'm not anti-Taylor. Answer the poll. Answer that poll to the left. What?
I think it's on Instagram or on Twitter.
I mean, right. Huh? Is it when I clicked on this?
Transgender operation.
Poll show Trump and Kamala are an extremely close race. Conservatives no longer support Trump. Teams still stand with Trump. Absolutely, baby. I love seeing ads like that.
Ride or die.
Sick as hell. All right, well, I think that might wrap up our debate coverage.
I think it does. I think it does. Again, appreciate you all for showing up and putting up with us.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get this posted for people that weren't able to make it. I hope we can get this uploaded to YouTube. If the audio quality is too bad, maybe we won't, but we'll figure that out later. But thanks for coming out, y'all. It was a good showing.
Yeah, this is a great time. Great time. I'm glad I could make it.
All right, y'all. Thanks for coming out.
Have a great night.
HITO thanks you for your service.
That's it. 100%. K-Hive strongest soldiers now.